Big or just for a rainy day, Old National is here for you. Earn 5.00% APY with our limited time 12-month introductory money market offer. To earn the promotional rate, account must be funded with a minimum of $10,000 not on deposit at Old National as of April 14th, 2023. Learn more at oldnational.com or visit a local banking center today. Offer not available online. Member FDIC. Old National Bank. Get old.
I'm Greg Gossett, the CEO of IRMCO, one of the largest and fastest growing contractors in the Midwest. We are currently seeking qualified applicants for construction electricians, systems technicians, and experienced construction account managers. At IRMCO, we provide a challenging yet friendly environment where you earn a good wage with great benefits and a solid retirement. Plus, you get the opportunity to work on some of the most interesting projects in Indiana. Learn more at IRMCO.com. A quality connection contractor. Quality work, customer connected.
And now here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Sunny skies here for your carb day. Should be a wonderful afternoon, a high of 78. We're mainly clear, quiet, and cool overnight, a low of 51. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Sasha Nixon, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This hour powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, May 26th. It is 6 minutes after 9. This is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. What are you laughing at?
You were so excited to start this show today, you didn't even turn your mic on.
No, I had my mic on.
That was on me.
Oh, that was you!
I didn't have it faded up.
That's how we're starting the show.
Sorry. But it sounded smooth. I mean, it was a smooth entrance into the segment.
No, it's fine.
Thank you. It is Kendall and Casey.
Yes, sorry.
He's Rob. I'm Casey. And let's talk about Ron DeSantis, shall we? He brought in $8.2 million in fundraising. This in 24 hours after he announced that he was running for president.
Now, he can't spend that money on himself in the sense of he can't take a vacation to Tahiti. But can you imagine just seeing $8.2 million appear in a bank account? Like, I get excited when I see my direct deposit show up. I wake up early the day we get paid, and the first thing I do is sprint to see that in my account because, well, I feel like a darn king, Casey. And I think we've made clear, radio doesn't quite pay what it once did, and thus the direct deposit not near $8.2 million.
Makes you feel pretty good, though, when you see that money, but $8.2 million to start in 24 hours to launch your campaign as you're running for president.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Your account reads $8.2 million.
Not too bad, right? But here's the thing. He's got an uphill battle to climb, according to all of the polls. He sits behind Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, for a while, has been ripping on Ron DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis seems to have kind of taken the high road, never really mentioning Trump by name until now.
Well, isn't it interesting, the approach from Trump world? And there's always this theory that if you are number one, and you're certainly easily number one.
You don't mention the competition.
Yeah, this is not Coke and Pepsi, right? I mean, you're led to believe by Trump that I'm so far ahead. It is Coke and Faygo, or
RC Cola.
Yeah, RC Cola or whatever. And yet he is responding as though it is Coke and Pepsi. And in a weird way, to me, this Trump obsession with DeSantis and badgering and belittling this guy like it's Chris Christie or Jeb Bush, to me, it's kind of pathetic. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you are so far ahead, go about your business. If this guy's no threat to you and shouldn't even be running, and it's just completely ridiculous that he's even fathoming a run for the presidency, then just do your job, kick his backside, and go win the presidency. And yet everything with Trump is about DeSantis.
Yeah. Well, and DeSantis is finally saying that he doesn't think that Trump is the same guy who ran in 2015 and 2016. He said he thinks he's going in a different direction and that Trump's campaign is going in the wrong direction.
So Trump went on, what is that thing he's on now? Truth? Is that the name of it?
Yep.
And I also think it's interesting that DeSantis is practically daring Trump to go back on Twitter because Trump's made the big proclamation of I'm a truth man now. Well, he knows he's getting a fraction of the views on truth that he's getting on DeSantis is getting on Twitter, and Trump certainly would get on Twitter. So he's basically calling his bluff and dominating that platform, daring Trump to go back on his word and come back on Twitter. So Trump went on Truth, and Casey, this is so. I try to come up with a word other than pathetic, but I don't know what the word is, because whether you think you're the best candidate for president or not, Ron DeSantis and what Florida did, certainly during COVID, is something that every Republican state should have aspired to be like. And we say this as a state with a Republican governor that put the power pants on and destroyed one life after another and didn't show any remorse and hasn't shown any remorse for it whatsoever. So it's not like it's a Democrat or Republican thing. Oh, all the Republicans were good and all the Democrats were bad.
Yeah.
Everybody should want their state to be the way Florida was under Ron DeSantis. So whether you think Trump's the best or you think DeSantis is the best or you're a Tim Scott person, we should all be able to agree and applaud Ron DeSantis's actions during COVID. And yet Trump is so insecure that he, in this piece of audio we're going to play, tries to say Cuomo in New York
was better than DeSantis.
Take a listen to this.
When the Ron DeSanctimonious facts come out, you will see that he's better than most Democrat governors, but very average at best compared to Republican governors who have done a fantastic job. How about the fact that he had the third most deaths of any state having to do with the China virus or COVID? Even Cuomo did better. He was number 4. He shut down everything, including the beaches. Other Republican governors didn't do that. They kept it open. It was their choice. I gave them all their choice. The Democrats blew it big. A lot of Republican governors did a fantastic job. And look at Disney and what a mess it is. Could have worked out an easy settlement, but no, he wanted to show the fake news how tough a guy he is. He's not. And the whole Disney thing is really very unfortunate. Now thousands and thousands of jobs are being stopped.
So real quick, because we're going to play some phone calls next hour about people going, you're being so mean to Trump. No, we're not being mean to Trump. We're pointing out, like we would with any other candidate for public office or any person in public office, when they're being wholly ridiculous. And in this case, he's just lying out his backside.
Yeah. Okay, so he said more people died in Florida. Is this per capita? What are we talking about here? Because it's a big state.
Right, absolutely.
So this isn't apples to apples here.
And again, there's nothing, any proven, one thing the government did that kept any person from dying. There's not been one proof of we did this and it kept X amount of people from dying. There's no proof of that whatsoever. And is Donald Trump actually saying, which is what it appears that, I listened to it several times now, that Eric Holcomb did a better job in Donald Trump's mind during COVID than Ron DeSantis? He's saying Indiana was better off during COVID with all the shutdowns and the lockdowns and the business closures and the people out of work and the mask mandates, that was better than Florida?
And the kids not in school?
When you say, Rob, you're being mean to Trump, these are his words. I'm asking the questions and making comments based on his own words. That is so offensive, and it is so wholly ridiculous to say that Indiana was better off during COVID than Florida.
And he said that DeSantis shut the beaches down. Rob, ever since DeSantis announced, I've been going back and looking at pictures from 2020 when I was in Florida.
Yes.
Pictures of me on the beach, going to the Harley-Davidson store, which was open, hugging people in the Harley-Davidson store. And he's talking about Disney and how Disney made money during COVID because they were open.
So when people get angry, are you okay with that? If you're a person who's upset that we are talking about Trump's actual record and things Trump is saying, do you believe as Trump did? Or just asserted there. We didn't make him do that. He said it on his own. That Indiana was better off, that Eric Holcomb handled COVID better than Ron DeSantis? If yes, then that's I guess God bless you if you think lockdowns and mask mandates and business closures were the way to go. But this guy is so full of it. And Casey, he just flat out lied during this video where he acts like, he said, I gave them the choice. I gave them the option. Casey, here is 1 minute. And this video that I pulled this from is much longer than 1 minute. I stopped at 1 minute.
Yeah.
Here is 1 minute of Trump basically saying how he forced states to shut down, how proud he is of what he did. Go.
We did the right thing. We closed the country down. I could have kept it open. And I could have done what some countries are doing. I had to shut it down, and we did the right thing. I thought of keeping it open. And we did just the right thing. We closed it down. And a group of very smart people walk in and say, sir, we have to close it. And we did the right thing. They can't do anything without the approval of the President of the United States. Even the Democrats aren't blaming me for that. We had to close it up. Some people wish we never closed it down. We did the right thing. We closed it. It's a decision for the President of the United States. We did the right thing. We had to close it up because nobody's ever heard of closing down a country, let alone the United States of America. We had to turn off the airlines. We had to turn off everything. And we did the right thing. A lot of people have thought about it. Write it out. Don't do anything. Just write it out and think of it as the flu. But it's not the flu. It's vicious. We basically shut down our country. We did the right thing. We had to close it down. The President of the United States calls the shots. And we had to close it down. We did the right thing. They're not working in offices. They're not in airplanes together. And we did close up. We had to close it up, and we did the right thing. We closed it down. We did the right thing. We closed it up. We were told we got to shut it down, stop it, tell everyone to stay home because of this horrible virus, and we did that. We had to artificially close our country. We've done this right, and we really have done this right. So we did the right thing. Everything we did was right.
Okay, Casey, those were all his words.
Yep.
He's very proud that he shut society down.
Yep.
And then he goes out there and he just completely lies to society. So what am I supposed to do with that, Casey? You're
being mean to Trump.
Why would you want that? You were in Florida. Was it open or was it closed?
It was open. And I can tell you, like I said, I've been going back looking at pictures and video that I took while I was down there. And, I was going back and forth between Tallahassee and South Bend about every 2 weeks to come back and visit my family and see my daughter. And at one point, I took a video. I was on Apalachicola Bay. It took me a really long time to learn how to say that, by the way.
Very well done.
Apalachicola Bay.
You're a trained professional.
Because they were plucking the oysters fresh out of the bay. And I thought, this is fantastic. When the dude comes down to Florida, we have to go to this place and go to this restaurant where they're serving these fresh oysters right out of Apalachicola Bay. It was a restaurant. It was open. My neighbors in Florida, the little girls, every morning getting on the bus. You know what my daughter was doing in South Bend? Not going to school, not having a spring break, not having a prom, not having a graduation. Her graduation ceremony was on YouTube in the family room.
But look, again, if you are only going to listen to this show if we lie to you about Donald Trump, then, I'm sorry. We're not going to do that. I would vote for an orange peel over Joe Biden, but I'm not going to, out of fear of somebody turning off their radio, tell you things that are just inaccurate. Ron DeSantis actually governed on the side of liberty and freedom during COVID. Donald Trump bribed the states to shut down. Had Donald Trump not given Eric Holcomb billions of dollars and Joe Hogsett billions of dollars, they wouldn't have been able to do what they do. And I'm not going to defend that, and I'm not going to let him lie about it. So if you say that's being mean to Trump, that's a you problem. That's not an us problem. Speaking of a you problem, you won't believe the text message I got yesterday, Casey.
I can't wait to hear it from one of your reps.
Oh, my gosh. These people are they're just scumbags, Casey. These people in the government that represent us are just complete dirtballs.
It is 19 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Memorial Day weekend, the start of summer. It's about having fun and enjoying life. But ask yourself, how important is all of this? When you bend down to light that grill, when you're out mowing the lawn, when you have a moment, stop, think. Remember the men and women of the United States military who've lost their lives while preserving the very things that make this weekend great. Have a great Memorial Day weekend from 93 WIBC.
It's prime home selling season. Right now, home buyers are actively looking. With mortgage rates moving lower, now is the ideal time to get your home sold for maximum dollar. Make the smart choice. Hire the agent I recommend, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Tom and Carol in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We needed to sell my parents' house quickly to move them to a place that could care for them better. We heard about Mark Dietl on the radio. We hired him, and he is exactly as advertised. After multiple offers, the home was under contract in days. A challenging time was easier thanks to Mark Dietl. Call the agent I trust and recommend for the details. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel. I've got amazing news from Window Nation. You can modernize and reinvest in your home today with new windows from Window Nation, and it's their best deal. 0% interest for 5 full years, but you got to hurry because that deal ends at the end of this month. You'll get all the advantages of more comfort, lower energy bills, higher home value, all with the impeccable construction and expert installation Window Nation is known for.
Window Nation has placed nearly 2 million windows with 96% perfection, making them one of the top window companies in America. If your home is over 15 to 20 years old, this is one of the smartest investments you can make. Call today, 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com. Lock in these incredible savings. 0 interest for 5 years. That's 60 months interest-free plus 2 free windows with every 2 that you purchase. It's only for a limited time, though, so don't miss out. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Hey, it's JMV and save with the Sundown Gardens Memorial Day sale now through Memorial Day with 20% off all container trees and shrubs, 30% off Dissectum Japanese maple trees, and finish up your flowers and mulch too. Ask them about the loyalty program and save 20% off all container trees and shrubs and 30% off Dissectum Japanese maples at Sundown Gardens Memorial Day sale going on right now. That's Sundown Gardens, 186th and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com. That's SundownGardens.com.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Heat and cool with nearly geothermal efficiency in places you can't fit ductwork with Mitsubishi Electric Ductless Mini Splits.
Just go to AbsoluteComfort.org. That's AbsoluteComfort.org.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
You know what? I will have some meatloaf. Let's have some meatloaf.
You want some?
I need... Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now!
On 93 WIBC.
24 minutes after 9, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And coming up in just a bit, Jefferson Shreve is going to join us.
And we're finally going to get to the bottom.
Yes.
If he's ever actually been to a Wendy's.
Right. We'll find out. But you said you got a text message yesterday that you wanted to share with everyone.
I can't even with this, Casey. I don't. Our elected officials suck.
What's wrong? What happened?
I mean, they never cease to amaze me at the level they can disappoint me. So but I guess in a weird way, they've been doing us a huge favor because they keep proving us right. And sometimes it's easy because we point out on a daily basis how awful the behavior of these people is. You guys are so negative. You can't find the good in anything. Well, with our government, there's very little good to find. Now, yesterday we pointed out my little interaction with the assessor's office went very well, and we did a whole segment on how great the government was there. But for the most part, these people are awful. So one of the things we have been saying on this show from the moment they elected Kevin McCarthy speaker, you remember Jim Banks, 15 times, voted for him over and over and over and over, came on every show but ours and said what a great guy McCarthy was and what a fighter he was. Said, you're not going to get any real spending cuts because the Republicans don't actually want to cut the spending. And if they do cut the spending, what spending they do cut will be meaningless. Right. And it'll be just enough that they believe they can come back to you and lie to you about how they've cut spending. And I got a text message, which, by the way, the fact that my rep can just send me a message to my phone, no offense, Jim Baird, I didn't give you my phone number. Shove off, pal. I don't want to hear from you. I don't like you. You don't do anything for me. You suck at your job, and so does your loser kid who's a state rep there in Putnam County. Hi, Bo. This is the text message I got yesterday from Jim Baird, my do-nothing U.S. rep from the 4th Congressional District. Hey, this is Congressman Jim Baird. As debt ceiling negotiations heat up, I need to hear from you. Do you think raising the debt ceiling should be paired with spending cuts? Let me know. And then it provides a link for you to click. And multiple other people responded that they got the same message.
Did you reply? Did you go to the link?
I don't click anything, Casey. You know that. And the fact, again, now if it wasn't actually from him, then there needs to be an FBI investigation because someone is impersonating Congressman Jim Baird, and maybe they can get to that faster than Hunter Biden.
Yeah. I think you should reply with the tell me more. Let's see what happens.
But think about it. So this is the Republicans. Should we do this?
Yeah.
Why are we even asking that question? Should we have spending cuts? Should spending cuts be paired with raising the debt ceiling? We are a week away from ground zero. Right. Less than a week away from ground zero.
Yeah.
And you need to ask, should I cut the spending? Should I cut any spending?
No, keep spending. We love paying so much more money for everything.
It wasn't like something meaningful like, should a balanced budget be part of agreeing to raise the debt ceiling? Should massive cuts across the board? Should entitlement reform? Should securing the border? Should a hardline stance on energy production? It's should spending cuts be a part of raising the debt ceiling? This is why I loathe the Republican Party. They are frauds. They are failures. They are frauds and failures at the local level. They are frauds and failures at the state level. They are frauds and failures at the national level. This is the Republican Party. A U.S. rep, a Republican, should spending cuts be a part of raising the debt ceiling? Please click this link here and let me know.
Tell me what you think.
I think I am going to respond. Tell me more. Let's see what I get. There's no way I can get like a virus on my phone, is there, by responding?
No.
I mean, what if it is some sort of scam?
It's not. You'll be okay.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Tell
me more.
Me more.
You'll get a generic response. Text stop to opt out. That's what you're going to get. All right, we've got Jefferson Shreve. He's going to join us next, running for mayor of Indianapolis with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
There's nothing more important than time. Time for you and time for family. If issues like high blood pressure or high cholesterol run in your family, make time for highly skilled heart care too. At Indiana University Health, you can book a same-day appointment with the state's most preferred provider of cardiovascular care. See a top cardiologist today. Then get back to what's most important without skipping a beat. Visit iuhealth.org/heart to book your appointment today.
Hey race fans, this is Tim Wicker from Electric Plus. When you're looking for an electrical contractor to take care of your next construction project, facility upgrade, or simple maintenance work, make sure you call Electric Plus to give you a professional and top quality project with the best team members in the industry. Just like race car drivers desire to be the best, the mission of Electric Plus is to be the best electrical contractor, period. Visit our website at electricplus.com to see how we can take care of your electrical needs.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Gearing up for the race. 58 degrees here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 9:30. If you were attending the 107th running of the Indy 500, there are some things you should know. John Herrick explains.
The first thing the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Doug Bowles, recommends you do is not procrastinate.
The travel plan can change based on incidents or other challenges on the road, so I encourage everybody to be here early.
Gates open at 6 a.m. Sunday. Be ready to go through metal detectors, and you'll have to use your credit card, debit card, or your phone if you want to buy anything because it's all cashless. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The average price for gas across the state is currently $3.63 per gallon, according to GasBuddy.com. That's above the national average of $3.56. And now for your WIBC money update. It looks like the Dow is up 80 points right now to 32,886. The S&P is up 11 points, and the NASDAQ is up 57 points. I'm Sasha Nixon. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The night before the Indy 500, the celebration of May continues with the Firestone Legends Day concert featuring Brad Paisley. With Russell Dickerson and Jackson Dean. It's Firestone Legends Day, Saturday, May 27th, the night before the Indy 500 at TCU Amphitheater at White River State Park in downtown Indy. Get your tickets now at livenation.com.
Tune in Saturday morning to the Home and Garden Show's annual Call of the 500 Festival Parade, brought to you by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joyce House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
At Cardon Senior Living Communities, you'll find our teams share a commitment to enhancing the lifestyle and well-being of the people we serve every day at every stage of life.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joyce House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Basements get a bad rap. Probably because so many of them are wet, leaky, and musty. Thanks to screenwriters, crawl spaces aren't very popular either. Michaelis is putting an end to the horror show. Their time-tested waterproofing systems eliminate and prevent water issues. Damp and moldy becomes clean and healthy. And their French drains, vapor barriers, and encapsulation techniques turn crawl spaces into a Disney set. Yeah, okay, that probably went a bit far. But with over 35 years experience, they have a lot of homeowners enjoying their basements again. Think Michaelis. And think how nice it would be to get rid of foundation cracks, basement leaks, damp smells, and all the nightmares that come with them. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Hammer Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
When you let me in, I want to be your friend. I want to guard your dreams and visions. Just
wrap your legs round these velvet
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. And Casey, what a special guest we have.
I know.
In
Big
the
time.
studio. He's here in the flesh. We certainly hope he's going to be the next mayor of Indianapolis. Republican candidate for mayor, Jefferson Shreve. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me this morning.
You have done the most endearing thing in the history of ever. He shows up this morning, and in his hand, triumphantly hoisting into the air, what is that?
A
What'd you
bag
bring?
of Wendy's breakfast sandwiches.
Yes!
A variety pack, actually.
Yes!
So
That's fantastic.
get them while they're hot, because the bacon is good until it congeals a little bit, and then you can always zap it back up, but these are good.
So we had had just a long-standing conversation on the show if you had ever been to a Wendy's. And I think this shines a giant light into you and your personality, that you are willing to have some fun with us. So you have been to a Wendy's.
I've been to a Wendy's. There was talk about Frosties and dipping fries in Frosties.
Yes, where do you stand on this?
Well, firstly, I would tell you that you can't get a Frosty this early in the morning. What? The machines do not start firing up until about 10:30, and so it's coffee.
Okay.
And the idea of dipping French fries in a Frosty, I wouldn't do it. I get the sweet and salty thing. I would take like an elephant ear. It was soft serve vanilla ice cream. I think that's a great combination. But French fries and Frosties, no.
Okay.
So pushing my limits.
I love this so much. We'll get a picture when you're done here. We'll post it up at Casey Daniels 317 at Robin Kendall on Twitter. I love that. All right, let's get to important stuff. Why did you decide to run for mayor of Indianapolis? It seems like a totally thankless job. The city is in such terrible shape. And you got a pretty good life. Why did you decide to do this?
Well, yes and yes on the first two counts, and I'm doing it because I think I can do a better job, and I've got the energy and some runtime experience in the space to have that conviction that I can jump in here and I can do a better job for my hometown. And it is my hometown. I mean, this is where I was born, and I am committed to making it better. I mean, this will be my life for the next, certainly the year of this campaign, and then 4 years, hopefully, and maybe even 8.
What's the conversation go like in your circle, in your family? I mean, a lot of times people just go, I'm going to just run for office. I don't have anything else going on. You had a lot going on. You had a very successful business career. You obviously sold that business and did very well. Like, can you kind of take us through that thought process on how you come to the conclusion of yes?
Yeah, so it's not like on a lark. Actually, when Mayor Ballard decided not to run 8 years ago.
Yeah, 2015,
I was serving on the city county council, and I thought a lot of the mayor and watched the way he worked. And when he decided not to run, I had considered it then, had some friends, including people in the administration, that were chatting in my ear about that. But it's such a personal decision. You've got to be in the right place in your own life to be able to jump in and make that commitment. And I wasn't positioned at that point. And you've got to have that conviction that you're the best person for the job in the here and now. And 8 years ago, a lot of us had some enthusiasm that perhaps Joe Hogsett could do what he said he was going to do the first time or even the second time. And, it
didn't work.
It didn't work. And so I come to fore. I'm able to do this. I want to do this. And I have that conviction that I can offer something that's a little better, a little bolder than what we've had.
Jefferson Shreve, our guest, he's the Republican candidate for mayor of Indianapolis. And yes, he has been to a Wendy's. And yes, he brought us Wendy's.
He brought Wendy's.
Yeah, that's awesome. Casey.
Okay, Jefferson, now I am actually one of your future possible constituents, and I live in Marion County, and there are some issues that concern me as a resident, and I'd like to address those if we can.
Yes, ma'am.
How long you got?
Yeah. Okay, the number one being crime. What is your plan to curtail the high level of homicides in the city?
Yeah, it's way too high. So, I mean, we have crime, petty crimes, violent crimes, but we spend perhaps the most time talking about the homicides because that's that qualified metric that the FBI verifies, and so that's the one that we put the most attention on. We had more shootings just this last night, another homicide, and what we see in the news when we wake up, we come almost jaded to. All the flashing IMPD squad cars that are responding to the shooting of the day or the hour or the evening. We have not nearly enough police protection on the streets of Indianapolis. We are 300 officers down, maybe more, but at least 300 down. I served on the IMPD Staffing Commission, back in my first stint on council. data-driven, nonpartisan. It was led by Councilor John Barth on the other side. And we know where we need to be from the human talent out on the streets of Indianapolis to protect our citizens based on our population density, our dispersion. And the difference in additional police is the difference between that pivot from reactive policing to a proactive posture, to where we're out in the community, inside neighborhood associations, listening to neighborhoods, and being able to jump in and respond proactively when neighbors are saying, I'm seeing this every Thursday night. Every Friday night, there's a big out-of-control party going on here. Something's not right, over there. We don't have enough people working for the city to protect people and property to do this job. And so those that we are left with are so burned out and frustrated with the way the system isn't working. We just don't even attempt to do anything with a lot of people on what you might have considered significant crimes like auto theft. Mm-hmm. It's just a rotating door. And so our officers will pick them up, they go into the APC, and they're right back out 6 hours later, and they're left with hours of paperwork to process. It's such a frustrating system, and we are driving off talent that we desperately need on the force.
I just real quick want to introduce our guest, Casey. Jefferson Shreve, the Republican candidate for mayor of Indianapolis. Go ahead, Casey.
So Mayor Joe Hogsett just yesterday came out and he proposed a ban on semi-automatic rifles and wants to roll back the law banning gun permits. Where do you stand on this? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think that's a fine opinion for him to have. It's just that that's not the mayor's authority to do that. I mean, he can't, he can say that he wants to do X, Y, and Z, but he doesn't have the authority by fiat, neither he nor I, to do these sorts of things. And so it's just sort of political posturing. He also wanted to hire a couple more, I think 3 more attorneys to work with a federal prosecutor because he doesn't have the system working right with his own prosecutor here. It's a desperate play, but it's not going to result in anything because statutorily what he's proposing just won't work.
I think a lot of us are cheerleading for you, and we talked about this in the elevator coming up here, because this city cannot, under any circumstances, sustain 4 more years of Joe Hogsett and resemble the city that some of us grew up in and around and coming to. And I think a lot of people, we saw yesterday, there were multiple convictions in the murder of Chris Beatty, a beloved figure who was killed during the riots. And I think a lot of us are cheerleading for you because you have the resources, the ability to ask the questions. Where was Joe Hogsett during the riots? That's a fair question, right? Nobody knows the answer to that.
Very fair question. I don't know. I don't think the governor knew. I mean, I know we were trying to raise him on the horn, but I don't know.
And I hope you guys will ask that because you do have the resources to be able to do that. All right, in addition to crime, which Casey touched on, there seems to be, and not to make it like a Jimmy Carter thing here, but a sense of malaise over this city in the sense of there's so many areas where people just don't seem to have confidence or pride in the city anymore. How do you as mayor bring that back?
Boy, that's so important. And, and especially on a weekend like this, I mean, it's a beautiful time of the year, a month of May, race weekend. We want our city to shine all the time, especially, at these special moments. And so, as a candidate, I don't want to beat up on my hometown. I just want to talk truth and keep this in front of people that what we have is not where we need to stay, not where we have been, and not where we are going. And it's that balance between, look, keep it real. How does it feel? Where do you want to be? Are you comfortable being X, Y, and Z around our city? And if the answer is no, and if you don't feel like we're in a better spot than we were 8 years ago, well, let's chart another course. Mm-hmm. We know where we have been. We know where we can be. We know where we want to be in Indianapolis. And we want a vibrant downtown. We want people that want to move into Marion County, not move out to Hendricks County.
Yeah. So I play a lot of...
There's nothing wrong with Hendricks County. We're fine over here.
Even Brownsburg, I hear, yeah.
Jefferson Shreve joins us, and I play a little game on the weekends I like to call firework or gunshot. But my commute, literally, I go from garage to garage. And even if I were to go to an event like at Lucas Oil Stadium or Gamebridge or something, I don't feel safe parking or walking outside, Monument Circle at night. What is your plan to make it more appealing for more people to come downtown and make it more of the tourist destination that it once was?
Yeah. Well, remember when the mayor ran the first time we were going to light up the city? it doesn't seem that much lighter to me. But I think there's physical elements, including just more and better lighting. We need better surveillance systems in terms of CCTV. I came out of a self-storage business, and we had so many more interconnected, high-definition IB cameras covering our properties than what our city has in the downtown core. And so you want people to feel like the lights are on, folks are watching and paying attention, and we want to visibly see our police in a proactive, citizen-facing posture, button-polished and out there, and not just responding to a violent crime, but being there, visible and present. I think in the downtown core, when we have events, some of those things that really sell, and they sell a sense of security with our citizens, is the mounted patrol. I like our motorcycle core on the IMPD, and some of those things that are a little more show, but boy, they're confidence instilling. And we adopted a police model of beat coverage several years ago, but I never see officers walking, paired up down the streets of Mass Avenue or Virginia Avenue because we don't have enough of them. We don't have that. And the ability for citizens to see that instills a sense of comfort and even pride in their city. That is important. And so our challenge on this front is not fiscal. We funded these officers. We've had them in the budget. Our problem is management in terms of recruiting and retaining that talent, where they feel valued. I mean, they're in high demand. They can go in lots of places, and they leave. I've been to lots of recruit class ceremonies in my time on the council, and time and again, we bring them in, and more leave than stay.
Yeah, that real quick. I know Casey would jump in here, but that's a great point. They go to have a great friend who left IMPD, went to the Pittsburgh Police Department, said it's basically the same pay, and they treat me a lot better.
Yeah. So we talked about the crime, and I mentioned driving from my house to work, and let's talk about the actual roads that I'm driving on because they're not great, and we know the General Assembly's not helping Marion County get money. What are we going to do to fix the infrastructure of our fine city?
Yeah. It's the biggest fiscal challenge facing this and the next administration. And the challenge, the path to it, in part runs through the General Assembly, other end of Market Street. I would be hopeful that I would have a little better opportunity to work with the General Assembly than our sitting mayor does, because they don't cooperate, they don't talk a whole lot. I would say that there wasn't a Republican or a Democratic way to fill a pothole, but there is a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
I was on Public Works in the Ballard administration. They used a Six Sigma approach to filling potholes, which is to say, if you're going to fill them, you want them to last several years. And so there are things that you need to do rather than just chucking asphalt into a wet divot or hole in the street, because it wears right back out in a few weeks. And so I think about some of this from my background. I have a pretty pedestrian business, but the driveways needed to be paved and needed to be cleared. The gates needed to work. The lights needed to be on, because my customers are like citizen constituents. They'll go elsewhere. They've got, they're going to vote with their feet.
Yeah.
And so we got to take care of those sorts of things. And we've got to do it efficiently with the resources that we have and do it right.
Hey, before I let you go, and by the way, we need to have you back because we could talk to you for an hour. And, there's so many topics this city needs improvement. But I do have to ask you, how cool is it to turn on the television and see yourself?
That made my wife shriek every time she would see one of those, because she was in one or two of those spots, and every time she's like, I don't know if I'd say that was cool. That when you're not a political sort of guy. I mean, I've been a business guy all my life, and suddenly I'm playing in a political space, and so it's an adjustment. But I wouldn't say it was cool.
We got to have all hands on deck because we can't do 4 more years of Hogshead. If people want to know more about your campaign, how they can get involved, how they can start knocking on doors, how they can, all sorts of those things, what's the best way to do that?
Oh, shreveformayor.com. Shreveformayor.com is our site.
I love it, man. Thank you for the Wendy's, and you're welcome back anytime. We'd love to have you back because, like I said, as a Hoosier lifer, I know you are pretty much as well, that we just can't do 4 more years of Joe Hogshead, so go get him, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, still no debt limit, and why isn't Chuck Schumer on the hot seat? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Since 1988, Gennesaret Free Clinics has been providing free, high-quality, and accessible health care, regardless of the patient's health insurance coverage or ability to pay. They've served thousands of the most vulnerable Central Indiana community members, including those experiencing homelessness and living in poverty. Gennesaret's services include free medical clinics, mobile medical clinic, dental clinic, women's health services program, and health respite home program. Gennesaret Free Clinics is a non-profit organization that relies on the philanthropy of the community. They need your help to provide free, compassionate, and patient-centered healthcare directly to those who need it the most. Your donation of just $50 will provide 20 patients with wellness kits and an entry to completely free care. You can make a difference. Donate now by calling 317-639-5645 or visiting Gennesaret.org. That's GENNESARET.org.
Old National Bank is asking everyone to get old. But first, people have questions.
Will it take me years to get old?
No, getting old can literally happen in minutes.
Is getting old like a complicated process?
Not at all. Just stop into one of our banking centers or visit our website. We even have an app for that.
Will I look any different after I get old?
You may look happier and more relaxed with a banking partner like us.
Definitely want to get old.
Introducing Old National Bank, where relationships and results matter. Old National Bank. Get old. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
If you travel 465 on the south side of Indy, heads up. INDOT has announced upcoming directional closures for work activities associated with the I-69 Finish Line project. Beginning June 2nd, eastbound 465 will close between I-70 and I-65 for approximately 3 weeks. Beginning July 7th, westbound 465 will close from I-65 to I-70 for approximately 3 weeks. Detour routes will use I-65 and I-70 near downtown. You can get all the details at I69finishline.com.
Hey, Ruthie, I'm gearing up for race day and need a bourbon that'll put my party into overdrive.
Well, Total Wine & More has tons of bourbons to choose from, but this single barrel is always clutch.
Wow, my crew's gonna love this.
And we have a track record of offering the lowest prices.
Woohoo! This low price was definitely worth the pit stop.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at your Total Wine & More in Indiana. Drink responsibly, be 21.
Don't let spring showers bring you a flooded basement. Let Justin Dorsey Plumbing install a brand new sub pump to keep your home dry and protected. Call us at 317-648-2140 and enjoy a limited time offer of $55 off your new pump. That's 317-648-2140. Don't cry about your plumbing problems. Call today, fix today is the Justin Dorsey Plumbing way.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
What love is only true in fairy tales. 9:53, good morning. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
He's been to a Wendy's.
Jefferson Shreve.
Yes.
Yeah.
The mystery has been revealed.
Yeah. You enjoy your sandwich?
It was great. It was some sort of bacon biscuit something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the cool thing about Shreve was he brought one for you, and he brought one for Kev, and he brought one for Kylan, who was in here producing Tony's show.
Yeah.
Now we know Tony won't bring her anything because he's never here.
Right.
So he even thought of Kylan.
Yeah, that was very kind of him because I usually come in here with hunger pains because you guys don't feed me.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
And so he gave me a biscuit sandwich, and it was amazing.
Which does give credence to what I've said for a long time on the show, Casey. We need more wealthy friends.
I tried. I asked him, can we be your new besties? I'm sure he never hears that at all.
He goes, I'm very busy. No, I'm just kidding. He did not say that.
Actually, his Sarah, his assistant, was saying like, you guys want to go to Tahiti or something?
Yeah, he said they listen to the show every day, and so that's awesome. And he's doing very well, and anybody but Hog said, so let's go Jefferson Shreve. Somebody not doing very well, though, Casey, Bud Light.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a big holiday weekend coming up.
Yes.
A lot of grilling, some parties. People are going to be hanging out possibly in the backyard, by the pool, at some parks. And what? You want to open a nice cold beer, right? What flavor are you going to choose? Bud Light's hoping you choose them. So much so that they're practically giving it away.
I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, the numbers are out there. Billions upon billions of loss for Bud Light since this Dylan Mulvaney debacle. I mean, it is an incredible amount of market cap that they have lost. And I think again, and we talked about this weeks ago when remember they put the ad out with the Clydesdales, and I said this is not going to be resolved until Bud Light looks at their audience and says we made an egregious mistake. We played to a bunch of clowns, and we recognize our own fault. No one to blame but us. And we are sorry, and we will not listen to these lunatics anymore. And we are back to hot chicks and whatever else dudes are into because that's who buys our product. Done. And then they would have been fine. But they won't do it.
They did not do that. Instead, they have revealed a new promotion called the U.S. Budweiser Family Memorial Day Rebate.
Yeah, so basically...
Here's a coupon for some free beer.
I mean, basically, that's what it is, right? I mean, they're so desperate to get rid of this beer that depending on, what size of case you buy or whatever, that it's up to a $15 coupon, you could end up with free beer.
Yeah, you could go into the store if it's priced. And in many cases, a case of Bud Light is below $15.
And isn't it amazing, Casey, that they are so wed to their leftism that they would rather give their beer away for free rather than just rectifying the problem. And it's a very simple approach. It has been a simple approach since day one, which is the people in charge, they're out, the new people come in, say this was an egregious mistake, we recognize it, we're going to get back to doing what we do, we hope you'll forgive us, and let's roll.
Nope, not going to do that. Instead, here's a rebate. They're giving away their beer. But you know what else? Who else is losing in this situation is Target.
Yes.
So I've got a birthday. I have to buy a birthday present for somebody. And I was on Rockville Road yesterday, and I drove by the Target, and I thought, I could just run in there because they'll probably have something. But no, I can't just run into Target because of what they've got going on with their tuck-friendly clothing. And I'm not the only one. It's being reported they have lost $9 billion in 1 week.
Yeah, the Post-Millennial had this report that because of them getting it once again in all this alphabet soup stuff, Target lost, according to an internal memo, $9 billion. And you know what? Their pivot appears to be to something George Floyd related.
Yeah.
They do not care. They know what they're doing, and they do not care, and they're going to tank these companies, and it is an amazing time to be alive.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
It's a solid faith. Now I'm a believer. Not a taste of doubt in my mind.
Dr. Trudy Fleer here with the 5G Home Recovery Podcast. Today, we're talking obstacles and obstruction. So many people are dealing with obstacles like walls, trees, even weather that can obstruct their T-Mobile home internet signal. Here's the thing. Nobody should choose between trees and internet. Nobody should be forced into an open floor plan just to get online. You can always choose internet that's reliable through walls. Just get Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/TMOFacts.
Now through June 21st, new customers can get started with 200 megabit per second Xfinity internet on the Xfinity 10G network for less than what you would pay for T-Mobile home internet. It's all just $35 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to xfinity.com/TMOFacts, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist-prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
You're listening. I'm Sasha Nixon. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Fox News.
Memorial Day weekend is here and America is going on vacation.
Fox Business Network's Madison Allworth is out among those on the go in Secaucus, New Jersey.
42 million Americans expected to travel for this long weekend. 37 million of those using their cars to get to their destination. Gas prices today sit at an average of $3.57 a gallon. That's down $1 from last year, but that was when gas was shockingly high, closer to $5 a gallon.
A lot of people are also taking off. The TSA reports 2.65 million passengers were screened at airports yesterday, the most for any day since COVID hit us in 2020. Fright on a flight in South Korea on an Asiana Airlines jet.
One passenger tried and managed to open the door, the wind rushing through the plane. People were screaming on board. No one fell out, but 12 people are injured, most of them with breathing or ear issues.
Fox's Alex Hogan. There's a mystery in Texas. The morning after a Waller County deputy was found in his vehicle last night in Harris County. They haven't identified him or how he died. There's still no debt limit deal. Fox's Jared Halpern's at the White House.
The House is adjourned and President Biden is scheduled to spend the weekend at Camp David, but talks do continue to make progress on a budget and spending deal needed to unlock a debt limit increase.
I've made clear time and again defaulting on our national debt is not an option. The American people deserve to know that the Social Security payments will be there.
Now, Republicans demand spending cuts be part of any increase in borrowing with a looming possible default on U.S. debt next week. In Orlando, Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is touting his state's record on education.
We rank #1 in parental involvement in education.
He's addressing a homeschooling convention after DeSantis set a fundraising record for the first 24 hours after presidential campaign launch. The Republican raised $8.2 million. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
An officer-involved shooting. 60 degrees here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 10:02. A kidnapping suspect was shot by a state trooper on Thursday just south of Lawrence. Kurt Darling has that story.
Matez Harper tried to run on foot from a traffic stop shortly after noon. Carrying a gun, he ran into a nearby neighborhood. The troopers chased him, and at one point, Harper came out from behind a house into the sight of one of the troopers. That trooper fired a shot, hitting Harper in the arm. He's expected to be okay. Troopers have arrested Harper for kidnapping. Kirk Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Though he's not a candidate for president yet, he is kind of speaking like one. The national debt is on the mind of former Indiana Governor and Vice President Mike Pence, who spoke in South Bend Thursday.
Literally, we could have $150 trillion in debt, which may mean nothing. You may think, I don't understand what that means, but the truth of the matter is it would put an incredible burden on American families and on the American economy.
He spoke at a charter school there, still non-committal about a possible run for president in 2024. If there's rain Sunday, it's not supposed to be anywhere near the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Sunday's Indy 500.
It could be in the far east part of Indiana. We're still waiting to see exactly how this area of low pressure develops.
That's Chad Swain with the National Weather Service. He says it will be mostly dry on Memorial Day and most of next week as well. An opera singer from Indianapolis will sing God Bless America before the Indy 500. Angela Brown will be having her second performance at the Motor Speedway. She last performed before the 101st running of the 500 in 2017. The 107th running of the Indy 500, as we said, will happen Sunday. I'm Sasha Nixon, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Welcome to Hopes for the 500, presented by Hope Plumbing. I'm Brendan King. It's time to get to the defending champ. Marcus Erickson outlasted Pato Award last year for his first 500 win, but can he do it again? We're back in 30.
When Jack Hope and Brad Persig built Hope Plumbing out of their garage, they had no idea their small plumbing company would have such an impact. You may know Hope Plumbing for their honesty, their customer service, and their community involvement. They're your real neighborhood plumber, and they care deeply about the safety of your home, but also about you and this city. When it comes time to choose a plumber, choose an honest one. Make Hope Plumbing part of your story and your victory. HopePlumbing.com.
Marcus Erickson wins the Indianapolis 500.
Erickson will try to become the first repeat champ since Elio Castroneves in 2001 and 2002. This has been Hopes for the 500, presented by Hope Plumbing.
This hour powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, May 26th. It is 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. You can find us both on Twitter. He's at Rob M. Kendall, and I'm at Casey Daniels 317. Okay, so we're just 6 days away until what Janet Yellen says could be a grave threat as the nation could possibly default.
Wouldn't it be fun just to see what would happen? Like, for real. What if we did, quote unquote, default? There's still money coming into the Treasury. They act like there's no money coming into the Treasury without borrowing power. There's money coming into the Treasury at all times. And revenue to the Treasury continues to grow year after year after year. There's not a revenue problem. There's a spending problem. So wouldn't it be fascinating? And, I think if I were in Congress, this would be my vote. Now, obviously, I would never get enough votes to do this. But I would just say, if you don't want to do a balanced budget, then we'll just see what happens.
Well, a lot of people are saying that it would be complete catastrophe.
They say that all the time, Casey.
Global economic repercussions.
Casey, that is what government does. Casey, I once sat at a meeting in 2015 in which the superintendent of Brownsburg schools said that if they didn't raise taxes by $100 million, kids could be at risk of dying in the halls by an active shooter. That referendum failed. They did every piece of construction they claimed they couldn't do without the new taxes. And life went on and everything is fine. And now that school has so much money, they're quietly buying homes on town streets and attempting to derail traffic on said streets.
Yeah.
So kiss off. Why don't we see what happens? Why don't we? Look, you'll know.
We may have that opportunity.
No, you're not going to have that opportunity because the Republicans are invested in big government. And as we just played for you last hour, Jim Barrett is sending text messages out asking if there should be any spending cuts as a part of him voting to raise the debt ceiling. So unfortunately, we won't. I'd love to see just how much government can we do without.
Most of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we're not going to see that. It's a dog and pony show. McCarthy wants to keep spending the money. And he addressed multiple times yesterday the media. And he is, and this is just, man, the Republicans will look at you and they will lie right to your face and they won't think anything about it. He is still trying to blame the Democrats for the spending that he approved.
Let me tell the American public, I am not going to give up. We're not going to default. We're going to solve this problem. I will stay with it until we can get it done. But let's be honest about this. We have to spend less than we spent last year. It is not my fault that the Democrats cannot give up on their spending.
Guy who voted to print $5 trillion in 2020 stands on moral high horse and talks to other people about their spending.
Hey, Pot, this is Kettle. You're black. Okay, so right now, they say that they're getting close to a compromise. I'm wondering if it's going to happen today before COB because, Joe Biden wants to get off to Delaware and sit on the beach.
Well, let's again remind everybody, though. Their compromise, the starting position for the Republicans. So you won't do any better than your starting position. It's like when you buy a house. You don't walk in there and go, okay, I'll offer what I'll pay for it. you offer, 10% less than you're going to pay for it. And then it gives you room to negotiate up. The Republican starting position, we'll accept 2022 spending levels. What?
Well, now they're talking about rescinding some of the $80 billion that was earmarked for the IRS, part of that Inflation Reduction Act. That's what they're working on right now.
But this is wild, Casey, because the Republicans in the House, when they were Johnny Tough Guy, passed a bill that defunds the IRS. So if they really wanted to defund the IRS, wouldn't you make that? Biden's already said, I got to sign whatever you ultimately give to me at the last minute because we can't default. Wouldn't that be in the bill if that's what you really wanted to do?
It's all political stunting, but I think a lot of people think that Kevin McCarthy comes across as more reasonable in all of this. Now, I know what you're saying. He was responsible for all the spending previously, but he's the one who looks like he's trying to do something. He's the one who's been at least in front of the camera for 100 days saying, come on, Biden, negotiate with me. Come on, come on.
So he's more reasonable because he's still Santa Claus, but he's Santa Claus without 7 presents for every home. It's Santa with 6 presents for every home.
Yeah.
Here is more of McCarthy complaining about America owing money. And we remind you, they owe money on things he approved to spend money on.
We want to make sure we have an agreement that's worthy of the American public. Remember why we are where we are today. We have more money at any given time coming into America. Not just a dollar figure, but by GDP. But when the Democrats took the majority, we are now spending more than at any time in American history, even by a GDP factor. And we owe more than at any time in American history. So it is incumbent on us to get this right, and that's why we're working through it. And it's not easy, but everybody knows the responsibilities. Everybody's very professional in these meetings. And look, I'm the total optimist. We will get this done, and we will have a better bill because of it.
How does spending the same amount of money we spent last year solve inflation?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean,
we have to spend a lot less.
Help me, Casey. You're the reasonable person on this show. We all know I'm a far right-wing radical. And I just don't remember at any point when the Republicans were running last year for the House and the Senate, them saying, send us to Washington. We'll get you back to 2022 spending levels.
Yeah. So they're saying that the conversations have been productive and they're making progress. But here's the thing to keep in mind as well. They're wanting to cut a bunch of areas, but defense spending is increasing by 3%.
Well, that's because that's sacred, and this is the problem, right? Yeah. I mean, you've heard this from all sorts of Republicans, where it's always the government I don't want is bad, but the government that I do want is fine. And not only is it fine, we should have more of it. They're not trying to make the government more efficient. Look, God bless our soldiers. God bless the people who serve this nation. But you are not going to tell me, with the hundreds of billions of dollars we spend on our national defense every single year, that there are not numerous areas that money could be saved by doing things in a more efficient manner. We're not talking about soldiers. We're not talking about bombs. We're not talking about ships. You're going to tell me there's no cuts that exist. You can't find money to be saved. By the way, McCarthy said he did speak to Trump, and Trump gave him some expert advice, Casey. He said, get a good deal.
And that's been one of our hang-ups for a long time.
Talk to President Trump about these debt talks.
I did talk to President Trump the other day, and it came up, but just for a second.
What did he say?
Oh, he was talking about make sure you get a good agreement as you move forward.
Make sure you get a good agreement.
Yeah.
Casey, next time
do a good job.
Next time you go to buy a car, I'm going to tell you, hey, make sure you get a good deal on your car.
Great advice, right?
I'm not going to give you any specifics on that. I'm just going to say make sure you get a good deal on your car.
Meanwhile, the Democrats are still saying we need to be building stuff. We need to have renewable energy across the country. We need to upgrade our grids, all things that are true, but it all comes at a huge cost. And where is it going to end? When is it going to end?
Now, I do, at the risk of being, hated more by the establishment wing of the Republican Party, and I hate to do this because
you don't mind.
Well, you know,
you're tough. You can handle
I
it.
just stumbled across this yesterday. I was having some fun on the internet and came across this, and I hate when just facts get in the way and prove what just lying sacks of crap these people are and what complete hypocrites these people are. But I found this little clip from 2017. Now, this was when McCarthy was in charge. The Republicans had the House, so he was he was not the shot caller, but he was one of the top shot callers. And here's him lobbying for raising the debt ceiling when he was in charge.
When you raise the debt ceiling, that's actually paying for stuff that has already been spent.
Oh, well, I see. So let's see. Can we just play that again just to make sure that was not an altered clip? Everybody understands exactly what Kevin McCarthy said in 2017.
When you raise the debt ceiling, that's actually paying for stuff that has already been spent.
Okay, so let's see. Kevin McCarthy and the Republicans, even pre-COVID, went on a little magical spending tour, hundreds of billions added every year to the national debt. Obviously, their little Menendez brother type spending spree they went on during 2020 and COVID, and so now it's time to pay the tab and. Now I guess he's just
changing his tune.
Well, as the famed philosopher Homer Simpson once said, I guess some people never change or quickly change and quickly change right back.
And Biden's changing too, because years ago he said people come and they think, oh, it's my way or the highway. Yes. And you have to compromise.
Yes.
Except now that he's the man.
Yeah.
It's his way or the highway.
Yes, that's absolutely
right.
right.
Exactly.
Hey, Casey, I asked a question the other day on social media. One of the county parties, they're having a big soiree, Lincoln Day, whatever they call them. And I asked a question on the social media platform where they posted their little soiree because of who their speaker was going to be. And gosh darn it, Casey, that comment keeps disappearing. So since they won't answer it there, we'll point out who this party is, what they're doing, and why apparently they're very angry that someone has had the audacity to ask a question about one of their speakers that they stuck in my face in my feed and said, look at this.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
We would listen to the race on the radio.
My brother and I would always end up in the back of a station wagon. We'd get to listen to the race, looking out back.
Can't watch the race on TV, it would be blacked out.
The magic of May.
We would listen to the race on the radio.
The traditions.
The race could be heard throughout the entire house.
The guys in the IMS radio network are the absolute best.
The memories.
We would go camping sometimes and listen to the race on the radio.
For more than 70 years, your home of the Indianapolis 500. 93 WIBC.
Hammer and I went to the Garage Food Hall at the Bottle Works District downtown. I had Jay's Lobster and Fish Market. It was delicious seafood. The lobster roll is incredible, but I was surprised when you didn't follow me there.
I was in a Cuban kind of mood. I went down to Palavana Cubano. I got that Cuban sandwich, which I believe was the size of my head. Portion sizes are awesome.
It's amazing. Jay's Lobster and Fish Market plus
Palavano Cubano, baby. Stop by. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Race to savings with Zero Res. Mention WIBC for 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $149 plus a free hallway. Appointments go fast, so call today. 388-5141 or ZeroResIndy.com.
Okay, I'm ready to record my jewelry store's new radio spot. We got a great script that really goes after Diamonds Direct and how they're nothing special and how we can match their price. Great stuff. Yeah.
Great. And we have this new technology that bleeps out any false claims, so it saves us time with editing. So you can start anytime.
Okay, here it goes. When you visit our jewelry store, we'll absolutely guarantee direct. Our diamonds come straight from the mine. We have cutters and Hey, what the
The hard truth is that other jewelry stores simply can't do what Diamonds Direct can. Diamonds Direct has special relationships with De Beers, international connections, and virtually unlimited buying power. The result is true direct importer pricing, exceptional quality, and up to 30 times the diamond selection you find at other stores.
I can't believe this thing won't let me say
Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get more truth at diamondsdirect.com.
Hey,
Hey, good morning. It's Casey, and I'd like the opportunity to talk with you about Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They can improve your space, which includes the garage, the driveway, the pool deck, even the patio floor. They'll lay down a coating which is 4 times stronger than epoxy. It dries fast, it has a strong hold, the color won't fade, it's UV resistant, and it looks great. It's easy to clean. Call Galaxy Concrete Coating today and get your estimate. It's cheaper than you might think. 317-751-9070. They're also online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
At SimpliSafe, we know during a break-in, every second counts. So our home security system is powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who use Fast Protect technology, only from SimpliSafe, to capture video evidence and verify a threat for fast police response. Now, install SimpliSafe your way. Do it yourself or have an expert set it up for you with new Pro Install. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Right now at Tire Discounters, a free alignment is included with every tire purchased, even one.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Say, aren't you Ralph, the manager over at Tire Box?
Nope.
Okay.
Anywho, I only need one tire, so I guess I don't get none of your gimmicks, right?
Gimmicks? Even if you need just one tire, you still get lifetime rotation,
Gimmick.
lifetime balancing,
Gimmick.
and
left one out, didn't you?
And now a free alignment is included with every tire purchased, even one.
See store for details.
Organ donation is a gift from the heart. Say yes next time you're at the BMV. Learn more at donatelifeindiana.org. That's donatelifeindiana.org.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
Dale Griffith, how the hell are you?
Well, I'm still $1 million shy of being a millionaire.
On 93 WIBC.
So do you have plans for the weekend? 20 minutes after 10, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. This is expected to be the third busiest Memorial Day weekend since the year 2000. 42.3 million people will be traveling this weekend, and it is going to be a 10% increase in flights. People flying. The average price for gas across the nation, $3.54. Now, if you plan on having some summer fun,
yes,
you want to do some grilling, have some people over. These are the items that are supposed to be the cheapest right now.
Oh.
Burgers, avocados, and corn.
Wow.
Yes. Now, if you want to do some shopping, get your mattress now because they're 70% off.
Oh.
Majority of them.
And we encourage everyone. Thompson Furniture, big supporter of this radio station. Big supporters of Hammer and Nigel as well. Thompson Furniture, great place to get your mattress.
It's also a good weekend to get a deal on a grill.
Oh.
But if you need to buy some new tech, new iPad, new phone, don't do it this weekend. Also trending this morning, SPF 30. That is the recommended sunscreen
You gotta
that
do
you
it.
should wear. You should definitely choose 30 or higher.
And don't forget, little update on many sunscreens. You've got to wait a few minutes before you go out into the sun before that sunscreen will actually take effect.
Yeah, sink into that skin. And if you have a gathering that you're planning and you're going to be outside, how long can you leave that food out before you need to wrap it back up? An hour.
Oh, wow.
Until it goes bad. And if you're going to be grilling, cooking, 140 degrees is what you need to get that meat up to.
And speaking of the cookouts, today at 11:45, we will send you into the weekend with our Mind Your Manners segment as we end each week with Susan Beckwith. The topic she chose this week is the cookout etiquette. So if you stick around, you will have all the info needed to attend and not be a complete disgrace at your family gathering coming up over the weekend. Kev, did you have something you needed to add to the program?
I was going to ask you, do you do charcoal or propane?
Do I do anything? Kev, let me tell you how it works
His
in
dad
my house.
does it. He goes next door.
My dad. Well, now here's the thing. When I bought my house, the people who owned the house left a pretty fancy schmancy gas grill there.
Oh, nice.
And so it is far superior to the one my father has. And so the dealio we have is he can use my grill, but he's got to do all the work. So it's really a fair trade.
So what are you putting on the grill? Is it hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken?
What am I putting on the grill?
Rob will sit back and sip on
What's
his
he
beer.
putting on the grill?
That's funny. I
Yeah.
have no idea, Casey. You act like I have any idea.
You just show up and
what
eat,
goes
don't
on.
you?
I will be at work Saturday morning, Casey. I will be working to pay all the very high taxes the Republicans have enacted and all of the inflation that Biden and Trump have created. And so I have no idea what goes on in my house anymore. I am just I'm just an income earning machine in my house, Casey.
Hey, speaking of that inflation, AOC asked a question, and she wants to know if you've ever heard anyone say that the government has done too much for you.
But they are accusing Democrats of saying we spend too much. For anyone that wants to entertain that thought, I ask you to think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them.
Okay, so the government's done too many vaccine mandates for me.
Yes.
Too many taxes, too many
Yes.
regulations, too much shutting down the country.
Uh-huh.
But let's hear it again from AOC, and this time we're going to get Chip Roy's response.
I ask you to think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that?
I'll say it right here. I don't want the government doing most of the things that the government is doing to interfere with the ability of the American people to carry out their lives. When was the last time you had a bureaucrat show up and you said, oh joy, I'm really glad there's a bureaucrat here? When was the last time you were thankful for $32 trillion in debt, $100,000 almost for every man, woman, and child in America? Anybody thankful for $32 trillion in debt? Anybody? Anybody thankful for a border that's wide open being exploited by cartels while fentanyl comes in and kills our children? Department of Homeland Security that doesn't actually secure the homeland? Everybody thankful for an FBI that went after Scott Smith and labeled him a domestic terrorist for daring to defend his daughter in a school board meeting because she was assaulted in a bathroom? Anybody thankful for the IRS knocking on your door, auditing the poor and the minorities 3 to 5 times more? People thankful for that? Are you thankful for the EPA or the Department of Interior that sent a man to prison because he had some ponds on his ranch in Montana? We have a government that is weaponized against the American people and is undermining our liberties, and they want more of it. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle want more government. They want more taxes. They want more spending. They want more bureaucrats knocking on your door.
Boom. I think he answered her question.
You know, remember, Casey, when you were a little girl, did you do dress up? Did you play?
Yeah, of course.
You pretend you were in a beauty pageant or whatever. AOC is a grown woman, and she's doing the equivalent of that with the government. Like when she gives a speech, it's like she's playing government.
She's pretending.
Look at the words I'm using that are forming coherent sentences. I'm government. She's like Ralph Wiggum. Hello,
big girl.
Super Nintendo Chalmers. I'm in danger.
I'm a big girl. All right, tell me what's going on in Putnam County.
Well, let's take a break because we got the voicemails. An angry guy who claims he doesn't listen very much anymore but calls every day is back, and I'm going to prove a point with him.
Okay.
And then, yes, something just very disturbing is going on in Putnam County. Now, they list old Bo Baird, the Republican Party website, lists Bo Baird, state rep. You may remember him from doing as little as possible when those poor people had the issue with the train stuff coming to Putnam County. You may also remember him being what is basically the political equivalent of a trust fund baby because, well, his daddy was the state rep and now his daddy's the congressman. He gets to be the state rep. They still list him as being the head of the Putnam County GOP. And there's just something weird with this interaction that I had with the Putnam County GOP on Facebook. So we're going to try to get to the bottom of that. We're going to talk about old Bo Baird when we come back. We'll play some voicemails. It's a wild and wacky afternoon, Casey. Let's go.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The night before the Indy 500, the celebration of May continues with the Firestone Legends Day concert featuring Brad Paisley. With Russell Dickerson and Jackson Dean. It's Firestone Legends Day, Saturday, May 27th, the night before the Indy 500 at TCU Amphitheater at White River State Park in downtown Indy. Get your tickets now at livenation.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob. I hope you're having a great carb day, and I hope you have a very safe Memorial Day weekend as we remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Throughout the weekend, if you are considering a new church home or maybe even a first church home, maybe something's tugging on your heart, please consider checking out my friends at Life Church. I've talked about many times the incredible impact Life Church has had on my life and my family's life, and they would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Learn more about Life Church, their campuses, their online services, and a whole bunch more at lifechurchin.com.
Summer like you mean it while saving more at Family Dollar. Whether it's a fun day outside, a poolside barbecue, or a relaxing beach trip, you'll find everything you need. From grills, smokers, and barbecue accessories to coolers, inflatables, and pools for the little ones. Beat the heat with summertime favorites like Pepsi 12-packs at just $3 for $11, Ballpark Franks for only $3, plus a variety of snacks from your favorite brands. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Discussing end-of-life matters can be uncomfortable, but it's also necessary to ensure that loved ones' wishes are well known ahead of time. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joyous House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. Up next, I'll share suggestions to help ease anxiety surrounding the talk.
Why Adult Day Services? Because no matter how much you love someone, there are times when you need a break and someone to help. Let Joyous House be that someone for you.
Direct, open, and honest conversation is the best way to discuss end-of-life wishes. Knowing your loved one's preferred treatments and desired arrangements will ready everyone for when the time comes. Also helpful, creating a will or trust to ensure assets are distributed accordingly. And consider an end-of-life doula to assist your family during the process. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joyous House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Heat and cool your man cave, attic, garage, or bonus room without adding ductwork with Mitsubishi Electric ductless mini splits.
To find out more, just go to absolutecomfort.org.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
An officer-involved shooting. 63 degrees here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 10:30. A kidnapping suspect was shot by a state trooper Thursday just south of Lawrence. Kurt Darling reports.
Matez Harper tried to run on foot from a traffic stop shortly after noon. Carrying a gun, he ran into a nearby neighborhood. The troopers chased him, and at one point, Harper came out from behind a house into the sight of one of the troopers. That trooper fired a shot, hitting Harper in the arm. He's expected to be okay. Troopers have arrested Harper for kidnapping. Kurt Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
If there is rain Sunday, it's not supposed to be anywhere at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 500.
It could be in the far east part of Indiana. We're still waiting to see exactly how this area of low pressure develops.
Chad Swain with the National Weather Service says it will be mostly dry on Memorial Day and most of next week as well. I'm Sasha Nixon, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
I'm so sorry you have just reached my answering machine.
317-684-8444. That is the phone number if you'd like to contribute. It's time to hear your voicemails with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
All right, so before we get to my little interaction with the Putnam County Republican Party on social media, we did get, it's so weird, Casey, and we get this all the time. I don't listen very much anymore. I'll never listen again.
Yeah.
No one's listening. That guy, it's kind of the same, profile.
Yeah.
And yet, those seem to be the people who comment and call all the time.
How can he comment if he's not listening?
This is the makeup of a large group of people who are that way. But there's one guy, and he always calls about the same thing. And here's the thing. and I tell people this on social media all the time, because my social media, I leave it open. I view it as like, because Facebook has this weird thing where you can only have 5,000 friends. And I don't know why that is a thing, but as you may come to the conclusion, as most reasonable people would, when you're as charismatic and as good looking and, well, generally out in the public sphere as me, people want to be associated with you. Mm-hmm. And so I've had the 5,000 friends for a long time, and I have thousands in the queue. And so what I did is I just make my posts public. So it's like you can't visit my house, like you can't come in my house, but you can, drive by the house and still see the party going on in the backyard and, somewhat feel like you're a part of the event.
Okay.
And so I leave the thing open and people can comment on it. There's a follow button there and people do that. And I kind of have very few rules on that, but I do have some. And it's one of the things, and I had to do this the other day, is this one guy gets on there and all he wants to ever talk about is how great Trump is and how much I suck for not saying Trump's the reincarnation of whoever. And I finally told him, I finally had to put my foot down and say, this is laborious. This is boring. This is agitating. You are adding nothing to the conversation. You say the exact same thing every single time. This is your first and only warning. If you don't abide and make another comment other than Trump's awesome and DeSantis sucks, you're out of here.
You're going to make room for someone else.
And to this person's credit, they have known, because they've seen me do this in the past, and pull the plug on people.
Yeah.
You're out. You'll be quickly replaced. There's thousands of people in the queue. I view this guy who calls a little different because I can expose him to the masses and prove points with him.
Okay.
But this guy calls all the time, even though he claims, I don't listen very much anymore. But every day I call and talk about something that you discussed on your show. And it's always the same thing, that he is outraged that we have the audacity to point out Donald Trump's record as president, that he's outraged that we have the audacity, as we do with every other politician, to take a critical eye towards them and what they have done or not done on behalf of the taxpayer. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, we have said nice things about what Trump did as president pre-COVID, but we have certainly told you his actual voting record and things he signed during COVID, which was an unmitigated complete disaster.
Yeah, well, he turned the country over to Fauci at one point.
Exactly, absolutely. And we've talked about the serious, obvious flaws that any person with a firing synapse in their brain would recognize that he has as a candidate. He is very unlikable to a whole lot of people who otherwise might vote Republican. That's not up for debate.
There's some flaws there.
It is he, and he has made that choice, and he has made the choice to not correct that pattern of behavior. That's not an us thing. It don't bother me. I think it's hilarious he called a porn star horse face. I'm not sitting here saying, oh my gosh, I, Rob Kendall, am so offended.
Yeah.
No, I think it's hilarious. But it ain't Cook County. I can only vote once, and I'm already going to vote for whoever the Republican, unless it's Bush or Christie or whoever is, right?
Yeah.
And this person gets so offended by us pointing out the obvious. And so his phone call, as it always is, was very long. So I broke it up into a couple parts because I want to prove some points about where the Trump people are going, because they're going down for them, right? Like for them as the person they support, a very dangerous path if they actually want to get this guy nominated for president. So here is part one.
Oh, and to follow up, Rob, when you talk about Trump losing in his candidates, there you are again. You're a very dishonest person to think that there wasn't total election interference, that people voted against Trump and Biden got 81 million votes. That is totally dishonest. You're being dishonest in the way your candidates didn't lose. Are you kidding me? Fetterman, they stole that from Dr. Oz. There's no comparison. They stole that from Herschel Walker. You telling me Raphael Warnock's a better person than Herschel Walker and more revered and liked in Georgia? That's a total lie. Go ahead, Karl Rove. Tell me all about it. And Blake Masters, and that Mark Kelly, that loser jerk, he's no better. They stole that, too, in Arizona. And whoever the other guy, Laxalt in Nevada, stole it. Hey, why don't we wait till 5 days after the election, all of these, and then all the Senate races come back for the Democrats? You're a totally dishonest person, man.
He is very passionate.
And he sounds like a lunatic. Because, okay, so let's play this out, because he wanted to talk about midterms. So let's play out the midterms. And what I've said is the Trump-endorsed candidates dramatically underperformed, people who are not endorsed by Trump. Okay, so let's play this out. Let's play it out with facts. All right, North Carolina, also a swing state, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Republican won in North Carolina. If there's this big, giant national conspiracy, how did the Republican win in North Carolina, which is a swing state? In Wisconsin, Ron Johnson, in addition to being an incredible stereo salesman on Fast Times at Ridgemont High, also a U.S. Senator Republican, ultimate swing state, he won a very close race.
Yeah.
In Ohio, J.D. Vance won, also a swing state, but J.D. Vance dramatically underperformed the Republican governor candidate who was not endorsed by Trump. So you have Republicans winning in multiple swing states. Okay?
Yeah.
We'll get to Pennsylvania in a second because he has a point with Pennsylvania, but I'll get to that in a second. So what? The Democrats just, what, did they step on the gas in Arizona and Nevada? And by the way, Nevada, a Republican was elected governor. Lombardo is the governor. So what? The Democrats just put the squeeze on in the Senate race and said, we'll give them the governorship.
Yep.
That's insane. In Georgia, multiple polls showed that multiple candidates would have done better than Herschel Walker. And look, I was dead wrong. I freely admit. Mark this down, Casey. What time is it?
It's 10:39.
10:39.
May 26th.
Herschel Walker, and I was dead wrong. I thought people were going to say Georgia football guy,
right?
Beloved figure,
right?
You know, a whole bunch of people are going to come out of the woodwork.
It didn't happen.
Herschel Walker was a terrible candidate, campaigned terribly. The things he campaigned around didn't resonate. And he's a lunatic. He didn't win. The governor there did. So what? The Democrats, and by the way, the governor candidate was the most beloved Democrat of them all. If there's one Democrat they would have wanted to get elected, it was Stacey Abrams.
Exactly.
So what? They put the squeeze on Herschel Walker, but they said, we'll give Kemp the governorship.
Yeah.
Now, Trump doesn't like Kemp because of the election stuff, but Georgia has one of the strictest voting laws in the entire country. In fact, it was so strict, they pulled the Major League Baseball All-Star game out of there. Brian Kemp, by and large, has been pretty darn conservative, certainly compared to someone like Eric Holcomb. So what? We're led to believe that in North Carolina, in Wisconsin, in Ohio, they didn't put the fix in. And in multiple states, they only put the fix in for half the election.
Right, not for the governors.
Right. You guys can have the governorships. We'll take the Senate. We'll call it even.
Yeah.
No. Trump, anyone associated with Trump, is entering with major baggage. I'm not saying I believe it. I don't care. I don't need to like my president. I don't need to hang out with my president. But this guy sounds like a complete moron when it's like, well, the fix was in. Then prove it. There's 3 justices on the Supreme Court who are appointed by Donald Trump. There are 6 of them, and I'll even throw Roberts in there because it's 50-50 with him, who are reasonable people who, if you presented valid election interference to them, what do you think Sam Alito, if he was presented with valid election interference, or Clarence Thomas, wasn't going to go, we need to get this on the docket immediately. They couldn't even get hearings, Casey. If that stuff exists, why couldn't you prove it? Trump just says, well, there was blatant cheating. Where? Kerry Lake, there was blatant cheating. Then where? Why? I'm asking, I'm not even trying to be facetious here. Where is this alleged blatant cheating?
Okay, well, he said in Pennsylvania.
Okay, now that's a different story. Pennsylvania has mass mail-in unaccountable voting, as do other states. When you have mass mail-in unaccountable voting, yes, that does open you up where if you can just send a ballot and somebody can get it and you have no idea who brings it back, for the possibility of election fraud. But even there, poll after poll after poll showed that there was another candidate in that primary who lost to Oz in the primary by it was like 1,000 votes. I mean, it was some incredibly small amount, who would have fared much better and probably won that Senate race. Trump put Oz across the finish line. Trump took credit for it. He bragged about it. He said how great Oz was. Oz didn't live in that state.
Right.
That was, so you can't on one hand say, I picked this great candidate, and then poll after poll after poll in the primary.
Yeah.
This is pre-general election said, This is the worst guy you can possibly pick.
People from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania were not relating to Oz.
No, because he
was an out-of-towner.
He was so unlikable. Now, look, again, who knows what happened in Pennsylvania, because that's a totally different animal with the mass mail and unaccountable voting. But you know the rules going in. So why would you pick the most unlikable person possible? Trump picked Dr. Oz because he's on television. Period. He picked Herschel Walker because he knew him from the USFL when he owned a team there. Mm-hmm. Trump is totally attracted to star power. He's totally attracted to things that appeal to him. He's not attracted.
Well, it worked for him.
Once.
Right?
When he ran against the most unlikable woman major party candidate ever to seek the nomination. Look, I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me in the midterms that the fix was totally in, sometimes in half the state, on half the elections.
But that's the type of guy who's going to vote for Trump no matter what, because he's still angry about what happened.
But he sounds like, and maybe we'll play the second part of his call next hour, because I want to give Hammer time because he's got the 500. Look, I will vote for whoever the Republican nominee for president is, Trump or DeSantis.
And that may be more than what Trump is saying.
Well, exactly.
Is he going to sign some loyalty pledge?
I don't care. What I want is the person who is most likely to win the election between those two, because Joe Biden is destroying this country. Same thing when we talked to Jefferson Shreve earlier. I want him to win because Joe Hogsett is destroying the city. Yeah. And this is laughable that people will not have one moment of reflection, like this guy, and look in the mirror and go, you know what? I may still like Trump, and maybe ultimately he is my choice, but gosh darn it, there are some serious flaws with this guy, and most people he gets attached to are complete poison. I mean, J.D. Vance, in the same election where a governor was overwhelmingly reelected a Republican, did horrible. And Trump got him across the finish line in the primary.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We got to be able to have some honest reflection that this guy and his candidates underperform compared to other Republicans.
We've got Hammer joining us next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Jam-packed Hammer and Nigel show. 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's Carb Day. We are going to have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. 3 to 7, 93 WIBC.
Michaelis presents Password. The word is basement.
Musty.
Shoes.
No. Damp.
Hair.
Try, subterranean.
Ooh, tunnel.
Smelly?
Burps?
Sheesh. Try basement.
Oh, well, burps are smelly too.
Ugh.
Basement waterproofing and French drains. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Make it Michaelis.
Come on. Take your basement back. 844-FIX-INDY.
Are your investments going nowhere? Here's a tip that always pays big dividends. Invest in yourself, your talent, your smarts, your skills. Maybe it's time to make that investment and start a career in IT or upskill to boost your current career. At My Computer Career, you can bank on us. We'll help you get the right skills and the right certifications to start or advance your IT career. IT keeps growing, so go with the growth at My Computer Career. The right training, the right timing, the right career. Invest in you at mycomputercareer.edu. Start now.
Jesse Kelly here. If given the choice between financial stress or peace of mind, I will always choose peace of mind. That is why I've secured gold and silver from the Oxford Gold Group. Having precious metals in your home safe or in your 401k or IRA should be considered your investment strategy. Simply put, it's a portfolio protection plan. One app, one call when you pick your precious metals. That's it. You now own real precious metals just like I do. Call 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Next up, Straight Talk from Doug. Ever notice that saying no offense is offensive? Like, no offense, but you're overpaying for your wireless. See? Offensive.
That's the Straight Talk talking. Get unlimited plans as low as $35 a month from Straight Talk on America's most reliable 5G network. Available at Walmart and Walmart.com. On the $35 plan, first 10 gigabytes data at high speed, then 2G speeds. Refer to the latest terms at straighttalk.com. Based on most first-place rankings, Root Metrics, second half 2022 assessments of 125 metros. Experiences vary, not an endorsement.
Tune in Saturday morning to the Home and Garden Show's annual Call of the 500 Festival Parade. Brought to you by V&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, your American Standard Air dealer.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Head to the contest page at WIBC.com and enter for your chance to win 2 tickets to see Paul Anka at Brown County Music Center on November 15th.
All my friends, yellow rider.
10:48, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Hammer joins us in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. I got a text this morning. I was up, getting everything ready.
Yes.
Kids didn't have to go to school today, so I'm just kind of doing stuff around the home. And I get a text from Rob. He brought Wendy's.
He did.
Jefferson Shreve, the candidate running against Boss Hogsett to be the mayor, brought Wendy's in for you.
Well, because we had pondered, he's a very wealthy guy. He sold multiple businesses, very successful. And so we had pondered, has a guy like that ever been to a Wendy's?
Right.
We ask the hard questions around here. So That's what we do.
Right.
And I think we all kind of agreed because he is a self-made guy, and that's good. He wasn't born on third base. He basically invented his business and what would become his business in college. Said, yeah, he's probably been to a Wendy's, and you had said on air, if he doesn't show up with a Wendy's, what a just a missed opportunity.
Right, and he came through.
And he did, man, and they said, we listen all the time, and they were there, and they said, well, we tried to get you a Frosty to put some French fries in. They don't sell Frosties this early. So A+ move, totally endearing, and a very nice guy.
And again, I apologize. I did not get a chance to hear the conversation. Did at any point he agree with Joe Hogsett about wanting to change the gun legislation in Marion County?
Well, here's what I will say about him. And, I'll be curious to get your two perspective on it because you are both Marion County voters. I am not. Our town council is trying to turn Brownsburg into Marion County, but they have not totally, fully succeeded yet. I wonder if he has the actual fight necessary personally to take out Joe Hogsett because he's facing basically a 2-to-1 registration advantage.
Right.
And
60% to 40% Democrat registered voters in Marion County.
Yeah.
So you're down about 20% just in terms of registered voters. He's got the money to fight back, but you've got to throw some haymakers at this clown because Joe Hogsett is a clown. And Joe Hogsett, and we're going to rip him this afternoon because Guy Relford is foaming at the mouth.
Oh, make my day, Guy Relford.
To come in and talk about that speech that Hogsett had yesterday about wanting to repeal constitutional carry and changing the age you can get a weapon to 21, a bunch of crap that he can't do. But you've got so much to work with on this loser. That is Joe Hogsett that went missing during the riots. I hope he brings the fire.
Because I think about when we asked him about, will you call out where Hogsett was during the riots, or and he didn't really lean into that. I mean, like that's a question that I would think is made for running for mayor.
Why are so many people afraid to ask that? Not name my dad.
Where were you?
All of these reporters in the city that have access and these horrible weekend shows on television that nobody watches, they all have access to this loser, and none of them want to ask him straight to his face, hey, there are rumors that you were intoxicated during the riots, and that's why you just had your assistant put out a tweet in the middle of the night. Can you confirm that, and can you clarify where you were at? Can you prove it? Why is that so damn hard?
And if I had his money,
And you mentioned it. You said you've got the resources, you've got the opportunity. Right. Where was he? Ask him. And Jefferson Shreve said, I don't know where he was.
Yeah, I mean, I would be running ads, and you and I talked about this off air. You've got to run a General Sherman campaign if you're going to become the mayor of Indianapolis, which is you got to burn everything to the ground. You got to open every box that may be considered taboo. You've got to, I mean, it's
got to make it personal because Joe Hawk said it'll make it personal, and he's a creep and he's a loser.
Yep, absolutely. And I wonder if Shreve is going to do that. He certainly has the money to do it. But, and look, when I say this to somebody, even though I don't live here, I work here as a Hoosier lifer, I'm cheering for him with all my heart to win. But, man, Jefferson's a really nice guy. And
he's got to get mean.
Yeah.
Jefferson, if you're listening, if your staff is listening, I'm a horrible, rotten bastard, and I live in Marion County. So if you need somebody to help you to write these ads or to prep you for a debate or whatever, I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's make some money. Can we do that?
I can think of no better choice if you want to burn anything to the ground than putting you in charge of burning it to the ground.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to hide, and if Joe Hogsett actually wants to confront me, I'll treat him the way my dad treated him.
I love that your dad has been tougher on Joe Hogsett than any member of the press.
Right. Tried to walk up the grassy knoll of the Hammer House, and that was his biggest mistake.
If I were you, I'd be leaving. What a great idea.
Indy 500 this Sunday. WIBC is your home for the race. So let's make some bets.
Yeah.
So this is how we're going to do it. Betting on racing, and Rob, you can understand this. It's like betting on golf.
Yeah.
You can pick a couple different people, and as long as one of them wins, your toes are tapping and you're making a profit.
Yeah.
Because the favorite in this race is Alex Palou. Now, depending on which sports book you're looking at, I'm looking at Bet Rivers. Some of the numbers may be different, but they're all pretty close. So Alex Palou is your favorite, and you're getting plus 550, which is basically 5.5 to 1. You don't get that in other sports. Like when Alabama is a favorite in football, you're not getting 5.5 1 for the Tide to roll.
Right.
So we're going to take $25 here. We're just going to play with $25.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 3 drivers. We're going to spread out $25, and you'll have a full race worth of fun.
So you could do that like $8 a piece, basically.
So I'm going to break it down with $10 on Alex Palou. Okay. $10 bet right now on Alex Palou as the favorite on the poll would pay out around $55.
Okay.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
The guy that I like the most, and he's been pretty quiet, even though he's starting in row 2, Scott Dixon.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Scott Dixon is plus 800 right now. That's down from 850 yesterday. So it's basically 8 to 1.
Yeah.
Get this bet in now if you want to bet on the Iceman. We're going to put $10 on Scott Dixon. $10 pays out a profit of $80.
Yeah.
So we got $5 left to play with. So let's take this $5 and try to find us a long shot here.
Okay.
Somebody that's got good odds, that's in the back of the pack.
Stingray Rob, let's go!
Even though it's not really back of the pack, it's plus 2,000 on Tony Kanaan.
Oh.
So Tony Kanaan is starting in row 3, at the end of row 3, and this is a guy that was really fast on that first day of qualifying, got into the Fast 12, has won this race before, and this is killer odds, plus 2,000. So we're going to put $5 on Tony Kanaan. That would pay out a profit of $100.
So we got 10 on Palou, 10 on Dixon, 5 on Kanaan. And that way, if one of these guys gets in a wreck or their car breaks down, you're still in the ballgame.
Right. And you've got all people in the first 3 rows where the majority of the winners come from. And if any one of them win, you're making a profit.
Stingray Rob, let's go!
There we go.
What's that payout, $9 million? Hey, what's coming up this afternoon?
We'll talk about what Joe Hogsett's trying to do. All of a sudden, Mr. Tough Guy wants to be tough on crime. And Guy Relford wants to have a little chat about his gun plan.
You know he does. Thanks, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Your neighbor Mark loves spring in Indy, but he hates to paint. So he called Rhino Shield.
It's a 2-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
No paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel. I've got amazing news from Window Nation. You can modernize and reinvest in your home today with new windows from Window Nation, and it's their best deal. 0% interest for 5 full years, but you got to hurry because that deal ends at the end of this month. You'll get all the advantages of more comfort, lower energy bills, higher home value, all with the impeccable construction and expert installation Window Nation is known for.
Window Nation has placed nearly 2 million windows with 96% perfection, making them one of the top window companies in America. If your home is over 15 to 20 years old, this is one of the smartest investments you can make. Call today, 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com. Lock in these incredible savings. 0 interest for 5 years. That's 60 months interest-free plus 2 free windows with every 2 that you purchase. It's only for a limited time, though, so don't miss out. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
If you travel 465 on the south side of Indy, heads up. INDOT has announced upcoming directional closures for work activities associated with the I-69 Finish Line project. Beginning June 2nd, eastbound 465 will close between I-70 and I-65 for approximately 3 weeks. Beginning July 7th, westbound 465 will close from I-65 to I-70 for approximately 3 weeks. Detour routes will use I-65 and I-70 near downtown. You can get all the details at I-69finishline.com.
Tune in Saturday morning to the Home and Garden Show's annual Call of the 500 Festival Parade, brought to you by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro Dealer.
Organ donation is a gift from the heart. Say yes next time you're at the BMV. Learn more at donatelifeindiana.org. That's donatelifeindiana.org.
Perfect conditions, preparing for the race, and celebrating in Speedway. I'm Sasha Nixon. All of that coming up after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
More progress, but still no deal. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The same thing we've been hearing for days in the debt limits talks.
We worked through the night last night. I thought we made progress yesterday. I want to make progress again today, and I want to be able to solve this problem.
That's House Speaker Kevin McCarthy about 20 minutes ago.
We're not just trying to get an agreement. We're trying to get something that's worthy of the American people, that changes the trajectory.
Now, he's pushing for spending cuts and new welfare work requirements be attached to any increase in borrowing. Republican demands that President Biden has so far rejected as a potential U.S. debt default looms maybe next week. Lawmakers who've left Washington are among the many traveling for the holiday.
AAA says this Memorial Day weekend is expected to be the busiest in years, and it's already living up to that, according to the Transportation Security Administration. The TSA says it screened 2.6 million passengers on Thursday, which is the highest number since the COVID-19 pandemic.
As Fox's Tanya J. Powers, Ron DeSantis made his first speech as a presidential candidate this morning, where he's governor, Florida.
We were one of the first states in the country to sign into law a parental bill of rights.
The Republican addressed a homeschooling conference in Orlando after DeSantis set a record, raising money after he joined the 2024 White House race.
And the DeSantis campaign is hoping that the record-breaking influx of cash they have received will signal growing strength to voters on the campaign trail. In the 24 hours following DeSantis' announcement, the presidential primary candidate raised $8.2 million.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. That eclipses the mark then candidate Joe Biden set in 2019. We got an update to the economy this morning showing we bought more last month and paid higher prices. Consumer spending rose 0.8% from April, while a gauge of inflation the Federal Reserve tracks closely shows prices rose from March, 0.4%. The year-over-year increase was more than March. In April, it was 4.4%. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Conditions should be perfect. 65 degrees here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Little to no rain is expected in the near future.
On Saturday, we'll have a little more clouds than today, but it will still be mild with highs in the upper 70s. And then for race day, there'll be a lot more clouds around, but it should still be dry.
That's Chad Swain with the National Weather Service, Indianapolis. One thing that can be inconvenient when you attend the Indy 500 is finding a place to park. John Herrick reports on what you can do to save time.
The first thing you should know regarding parking passes is their availability, says President of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Doug Bowles.
If folks do not have a parking pass already for Indianapolis Motor Speedway property, they will have to find another place to park.
That's because they're sold out. And he says you can take a shuttle from downtown Indy or the airport to the Speedway. But if that's not an option for you, then he urges you to get to the Speedway as early as possible so you can find a place to park close by. Gates open at 6 a.m. Sunday. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And the town of Speedway will be busy for another reason. Terry Stacy explains.
After spending Carb Day at the track, Grant Kleinhens, town manager for the town of Speedway, invites you to Main Street for Rockin' on Main.
Rockin' on Main is literally a race-inspired, music-infused party. Great bands, great food vendors, and it's all on Main Street where the heart of Speedway is. We do have an activities kids zone, so it's definitely a family-friendly event. There is a drink garden, and that will provide alcoholic beverages. We have 3 fantastic bands. Our headliner is Clayton Anderson, and he'll be here to kind of round it out.
The party starts at 5 p.m. Terry Stacy, WIBC Mobile News.
I'm Sasha Nixon, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes?
Track update brought to you by Hope Plumbing, local, honest plumbers. Visit hopeplumbing.com. We are just 48 hours away from the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500, but before that historic event takes place, Carb Day arrives, the first of many events in the lead-up to what is expected to be the highest attended Indianapolis 500 in nearly 25 years. Of course, with Carb Day arrives the final opportunity for drivers to get a chance around the oval and fine-tune their speed, their equipment, and strategies before they try to vie for the Borg-Warner Trophy. Now, their practice window is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., so that'll take place just here in about a couple minutes as drivers get their final chance to make sure everything is set for the 107th running of the greatest spectacle in racing. For your 93 WIBC track update, I'm Jimmy Cook.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
This hour powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Ductless Mini Splits dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, May 26th. It is 6 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Thank you for joining us this morning. So just a third of Americans say that President Biden winning in 24 would be a step forward or a triumph for the country. Just 33%. And then we look at the other side, and right now the leaders are Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis won, at least for the 24 hours following his announcement that he was running for president, as his campaign was able to raise $8.2 million in that first day, as he was still getting attacked by Donald Trump.
The reaction from the only Trump people. And so I think when you talk about this presidential primary, you've got people who are still for Trump, but they're markedly different than the only Trump people. So when I talk about the Trump people, I'm not talking about people who at this point say, hey, you know, I'm leaning Trump or I'm still in Trump's camp, but I can be swayed or whatever. They're that guy who we played last hour who is just that phone call. Correct me if I'm wrong, Casey. So this guy, you know, we've talked about it before. He listens all the time, claims he never listens, or rarely listens, and then calls about specific things all the time that we talk about. Where he went through that thing on this, you know, it's all a conspiracy. It's all of this. It's all of that. I mean, that is.
He bought in.
Even if you believe that, that is such a horrific message to send out about voting for your person. Well, vote for my guy because it's all rigged and it doesn't matter anyway, and you're just going to get screwed. Wow. What an uplifting vision for the country. And yet the only Trump people, the way they're behaving about some guy just being in the race, and it's not some super liberal guy. It's the most consistently conservative and liberty and freedom-minded governor in America right now, and you're treating him far worse than you treated Lindsey Graham and Jeb Bush in 2016. It is just the meltdown from these only Trump people that DeSantis exists as a human being and is even running for president is just mind-blowing.
He's a threat.
You're right. He is. And it tells you a lot about the people in that world, and it tells you really a lot about Trump, too. That this is their reaction to having competition.
Right. It's almost like it's assumed that it's just Trump's, and it's his. DeSantis has to wait.
They're behaving the way the left behaves. The attacks towards DeSantis and the reaction to him running there's a lot of similarities between them and how the left behaves. And look, Trump may very well be the nominee. If he is, I will vote for him because I would vote for anything over Joe Biden. But that is not a winning strategy. That is not a vision for this country. That is not something that inspires people to want to be a part of your campaign. And if you don't fix it quick and Trump doesn't start offering, and Trump's people and Trump's supporters don't start offering
solutions,
yes,
answers, serious conversation. You can't just have an entire presidential campaign running on picking on the other guys.
I mean, the reaction.
What are you offering?
I'm putting myself in Trump's shoes. First of all, I wouldn't have done many of the things Trump did during COVID, but that's beside the point. Some guy who you believe is going to be competition for you gets in the race. What would my initial public reaction to that be? I mean, let's, behind closed doors, that old so-and-so, da blah, 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 whatever. But publicly, wouldn't your reaction be, hey, I welcome Ron DeSantis to the race. We have a lot of areas that we agree. I look forward to a robust discussion on how best to send out the message of liberty and freedom. I look forward to a robust debate on who is best to carry be the standard bearer for limited accountable government. I certainly think that's me. I certainly think if I am once again nominated to be the face of this party, that I will reflect that vision and value. And I look forward to Ron DeSantis and I having a very spirited discussion about that over the next year.
Yeah. Okay, that's the professional way to do it. That's the play nice way to do it, but that's not Trump.
But Ron DeSantis, so this is where it comes back. Again, it's not Jeb Bush, it's not Lindsey Graham. Ron DeSantis, if you are a liberty and freedom-minded person, deserves a certain level of respect for what he did and what he has accomplished the past 3 years, especially a la Indiana, where we saw Republican governors across this country wilt. If you actually cared about the things you profess to care about, the liberty and freedom, the limited government, the accountable government, standing up for what's right, standing up for kids, standing up for life, there is a certain level of, okay, even if he isn't our guy, we wholeheartedly respect what you have done the past 3 years, and welcome to the party, Ron DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even give him that.
No, but that's Trump being Trump, which is a morsel of honesty. At least he's not going to play that way.
And this, and we're going to play some audio of this. So he went on his Truth social media site yesterday and made more videos about Ron DeSantis. And this thing about
focusing on him,
it is exhausting that he claims DeSantis only exists because of me. And you know why I think it's exhausting?
How long does Ron DeSantis have to be beholden to Donald Trump?
Well, so here's why, it just dawned on me a little bit ago why this bothers me so much. Because people say something very similar about me being here. The Trump people here in Indiana now, the only Trump people hate me now because I come on here and have this platform to talk about stuff, right? The real stuff. And, well, you're only here because of Trump. You only have this job because of Trump. And I was thinking about this where obviously it's a much bigger thing that DeSantis is doing than what, I'm doing or whatever. But yes, did me interviewing Trump get me a lot of publicity? Absolutely. And I think I have more than paid that forward to defending Donald Trump over the past 7 years. However, when they brought me in here, if I had stunk, if no one had listened, that interview got me an opportunity here. I cashed in that opportunity. And I have made the most of it, and I have earned it, and we earn it every single month on this radio station.
Same thing with Ron DeSantis.
Exactly.
Donald Trump may have gotten him across the finish line, but once he was in office, it was up to him to govern.
Absolutely. People love Ron DeSantis, not because Trump endorsed him, whatever that's been, 5 years ago now. They love Ron DeSantis because he delivered on the promises he made as governor. But listen to this. Trump just acts like DeSantis should never be allowed to run as long as he wants to run because he got DeSantis elected.
In December of 2017, Ron DeSanctimonious was polling at 5% in the Republican primary for governor of Florida. 5%. DeSantis had virtually no endorsements and was being drastically outraised by Agricultural Commissioner Adam Putnam, the widely viewed favorite. He was going to win. He was going to win easy. He was way up. Ron had zero chance of winning. On December 21st, 2017, a man named President Donald J. Trump endorsed in support of Ron DeSanctimonious. His polling skyrocketed, and DeSantis won the Republican primary 57-37. He was down so many points, and all of a sudden he wins by 20. He was already looking for jobs. But he did it because of President Trump. Thank you very much, Ron. Thank you very much.
Needs to get over it.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
I think, okay.
So he's referring to himself in the third person.
Yeah.
It is. And by the way, the definition of sanctimonious is making a show being morally superior to other people. That doesn't even fit. Like Trump used to be good at the nicknames. The nicknames, low energy Jeb, little Marco, I mean, all of the names, Lion Ted, puts the Bible up, he lies, puts the Bible down, tells it, funny stuff. It's not even good. It doesn't fit. Like Ron DeSantis, this whole time in office has been about allowing people to live their lives as they see fit. The nickname doesn't even fit the guy.
Right, without intrusion from the government. Less intrusion.
He was not done, Casey.
No, of course not.
And look, I don't know. I looked this up. I don't know what I missed. He keeps calling him Rob DeSanctimonious, Rob DeSantis. He's doing it deliberately.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and I don't know if I missed something with this. There's nothing online that I could find that popped up about why he's doing this. I don't know if he's just trying to be just an awful person, deliberately saying the guy's name wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if somebody can clue me in if I just missed something obvious. But here's more about him and DeSantis.
Rob DeSanctimonious and his poll numbers are dropping like a rock. I would almost be inclined to say these are record falls. The question, is Rob just young, inexperienced, and naive, or, more troubling, is he a fool who has no idea what the hell he's doing? We already have one of those in office. We don't need another one. We need MAGA, Make America Great Again. That's what we want. Make America Great Again. We have no choice. This is the last shot we've got at it. If we don't win this time, our country is in really big trouble. Thank you.
Kevin, can we play? Because there's a clip you've got to capture there where he's just talking about Rob. He just says Rob and then goes on. That will be the ultimate liner for this show. Can we just play that again so in my head I will know what I want you to get? Can we just play this from the beginning?
Rob DeSanctimonious and his poll numbers are dropping like a rock.
Okay.
I would almost be inclined to say these are record falls. The question, is Rob just young, inexperienced, and naive, or, more troubling, is he a fool who has no idea what the hell he's doing?
Perfect. That's what we'll need. That'll be the clip for the liner for the show.
Right, I can hear it now with Kendall and Casey. Okay, so he's not completely wrong. I mean, some of the Emerson College numbers came out, and it's a national poll, but they did focus on Iowa. And Donald Trump is winning by a lot in Iowa, 62%. DeSantis comes in second place at 20%. And then you've got Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, and the rest. And Doug Burgum.
Who?
Exactly. I don't even know who that is. And
neither does he. Who am I?
They also have a slot on this for someone else. Someone else is getting 2%.
Boy, you still haven't found your person. Hey, you went to the beauty salon yesterday, didn't you?
I did.
And you had a little powwow with the gals about your little swooning over Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, you're not supposed to talk politics, but it happened.
I saw that photo. You groped Robert F. Kennedy Jr. yesterday.
I did not.
Where are your hands?
I did not. He was standing next to me. He put his arm around me, which surprised me, and I was like, all right.
You better explain yourself when we come back.
Okay, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Back home again.
Tradition.
Race day in Indianapolis. He stalls the engine. We got a problem in the Patrick going side by side with Welding. Big crash. Back straight away. Here comes Elio to the inside. One car upside. He is sputtering slow and he hits the wall. Quick checkers in it. Kuma said Elio kicked into his choice. The four-time winners club. He wins the Indianapolis 500.
The tradition continues. Sunday morning starting at 6 a.m. on 93 WIBC.
When Jack Hope and Brad Persig built Hope Plumbing out of their garage, they had no idea their small plumbing company would have such an impact. You may know Hope Plumbing for their honesty, their customer service, and their community involvement. They're your real neighborhood plumber, and they care deeply about the safety of your home, but also about you and this city. When it comes time to choose a plumber, choose an honest one. Make Hope Plumbing part of your story and your victory. HopePlumbing.com.
Jesse Kelly here. I'm not a financial expert, but I do look for solid investment opportunities for investment growth and protection against loss. I do know that putting all your eggs in one basket is not a good financial plan. Securing your IRA or 401k with real gold and silver with Oxford Gold is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Or you can buy precious metals and keep them in your safe. One app, one call, and you pick your precious metals. That's 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
Hey race fans, this is Tim Wicker from Electric Plus. When you're looking for an electrical contractor to take care of your next construction project, facility upgrade, or simple maintenance work, make sure you call Electric Plus to give you a professional and top quality project with the best team members in the industry. Just like race car drivers desire to be the best, the mission of Electric Plus is to be the best electrical contractor, period. Visit our website at electricplus.com to see how we can take care of your electrical needs.
Organ donation is a gift from the heart. Say yes next time you're at the BMV. Learn more at donatelifeindiana.org. That's donatelifeindiana.org.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
I need the flight records. Dad, I'm trying to find some money for the family.
There's always money in a banana stand.
On 93 WIBC.
Why were you groping Robert F. Kennedy Jr. yesterday?
I was not groping him. It's 21 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Have you posted that picture publicly yet?
I did. Yeah.
Can you show it to me again? Is it on Casey Daniels?
Yeah.
It's Where's right your hand?
It's behind his back. Look where his hand is. It's on my shoulder.
What is he, a ventriloquist?
I don't know. He stepped up to me and put his arm around me, and I was like, oh,
well,
okay.
I bet he did.
This is what we're doing.
Why was he here?
So Robert Kennedy Jr. was here. He was on Tony Katz's show yesterday.
He did not fly to Indianapolis to be on Tony Katz's show.
I don't know why he was here. If he had an event or something was going on.
Is he here for the race?
No way.
You think he's
he's a big racing fan?
Sitting in the grandstand. Okay, seat 27, seat 28. Hey, that's Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah. So he was here in the building, and I noticed I was getting ready to leave, and he was walking down the hall, and I looked, and I was kind of surprised, like, oh my gosh, that's Robert Kennedy Jr. right there. And so Nigel stepped up because Nigel wanted to get his picture with him. And I was like, well, hey, me too. And that's when, he slid his arm on my shoulder. And I said, okay, here we go. So Biden won't debate one of these people in the picture. And the other's running for president.
Like I did a Google search and there's nothing pops up. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. Somebody told me he was giving a speech.
Okay.
But you would have thought, man, because this is obviously Indianapolis, 1968. Bobby Kennedy gives the famous speech after Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated, and famously Indianapolis, one of the few cities that major cities that saw peace. And so maybe it had something to do with that. I don't know. But I mean, that's so wild that there's almost no coverage. I mean, I know he was on with Tony. I heard him on the air with Tony driving home from work. That's so he was he just like moseying around the building? I mean,
yeah.
Hey, were you like Leonardo DiCaprio in that meme, getting up off your couch, pointing?
We were just walking down the hall, and there he was, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then Nigel popped out of the studio. I think you were going off the rails at the time.
Oh,
so we just got a picture taken with him, and that was it.
Did he ask for your number?
No, he did not. He asked me what my name was.
Oh, sure he did. Did he wink at you?
And I said Casey, and he was like, okay, nice to meet you. We shook
That's the name you gave him, huh?
Yeah.
That's the one you went with?
That's the name I gave him. I told him, you can call me Casey.
So what happened? You got in some sort of back and forth with your gal pals at the beauty salon.
Okay, that's where I was going. I was leaving work, and I was going to get my hair done, and right before
Looks fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. I didn't do it this morning, but thank you. But right before I left, that's when I saw Robert Kennedy Jr. walking down the hallway, got a quick picture, and then left. So I get to the salon, and my stylist, she's like, hey, how are you? How's your day going? You just come from work, small talk. And I just left from work. And I said, oh, I just met Robert Kennedy Jr. on my way out the door.
Yeah. Did she know who that was?
Well, I could tell from the look on her face. She did not.
Wow.
And I said, you don't know who that is, do you?
Now, is this an older broad?
No, she's like 20s.
Oh, okay.
Young 20s.
Yeah, Kevin's age.
And she said, no, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
And I said, Robert Kennedy's son. And I could still tell from the look on her face, she didn't know who that was either.
No idea.
And I said, okay, we need to back up a little further. JFK, do you know who that is?
Yeah.
And she said, president. And I said, very good.
He's the president, Grandma. What gets to the point?
Very good. And she said he was the one that was assassinated.
Oh, wow. Boy, real Mensa member here that we've locked horns with.
Right. And I said, okay, so RFK was his younger brother, and he also ran for president, and he too was assassinated. She did not know that. And then I told her, okay, RFK's son, RFK Jr., is currently running for president. And then an older lady who was sitting next to me, she chimed in and she said, he is? And then there was like a millennial-aged woman sitting behind me, and she asked, is he running to beat Trump? And I said, well, he's got to beat Biden first. And she said, well, why does he have to beat Biden to beat Trump? So I thought, okay, here we are. This is where we are.
What are you even... You are lying about this interaction.
No, I'm not.
You are just doing this to see how enraged you will make me.
No, I actually believe this.
So we have 3 different women with 3 different age groups. One who didn't know who RFK Jr. was.
Yeah.
One who didn't know he was running.
Yeah.
And one who didn't know he was a Democrat. All 3 of them, though, complained about Biden. Because at the end of this conversation, the stylist, who's the young one who's doing my hair, she's like, yeah, they don't really want us to talk about politics here in the salon. And I said, oh, yeah, I get it. And she goes, but something has to be done. Because she had just gotten back from her honeymoon and everything was really expensive. And then the boomer, the older woman, says, Biden. And then the millennial behind me just starts shaking her head. Mm-hmm. She doesn't say anything, but she's shaking her head. And I just thought, Rob, this is the coveted suburban woman vote that all of these guys running want.
So you had to whisper about politics in the salon? They were making you, they wanted you to stop talking about it?
Well, she didn't say stop talking about it. She was just kind of like, yeah, they don't really like
Yeah,
us
they
to do
didn't.
that.
That's
and I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, but my point here is you have a person, I would assume they are all at least of high school education. So this girl doing your hair, I mean, she has to have achieved some level of at least certification to do this.
Yeah.
She got out of high school, and they did not inform her of who, and she lives in central Indiana, and they did not inform her of who Robert Kennedy was and his Robert Kennedy was involved in one of the most important events in the history of this city because of what his actions, look, whether I agree with his politics or not, what he did that night was nothing short of heroic to keep this city together. And on top of that, he was an attorney general. He was the best friend of the brother.
Yep.
That is
I
unbelievable.
Thought that was a crazy snapshot of what a young adult right now knows or does not know about our history.
Okay, so I know we got to get to a break, but I want to ask you this. Of those three people who it seemed to be uniformed agreement, something has to be done about Biden, whether they know why or whatever.
Right.
Which of the two people would be more likely to win their vote? Would it be Donald Trump or would it be Ron DeSantis?
I would have to say Trump because that's the name they brought up. That's the name that the millennial said. Is he running to beat Trump? Like, she didn't say, is he running to beat DeSantis?
But she didn't say anything with a follow-up of, oh my gosh, we've got to get Trump back in there.
No, because she was the quieter one of the three who was just kind of nodding her head. Because when they started complaining about inflation and how everything was so expensive, the millennial-aged woman was the one who was just kind of nodding in agreement. Because I'm sure she was feeling like, okay, we're really not supposed to talk about politics here in the salon. But why aren't we? Why aren't we supposed to talk about politics in the hair salon?
I demand to know. This is why I don't go to salons. You gals doing your hair?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Casey, when we come back, obviously the race is Sunday, but Monday is Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And that, look, I know the race is big, and God bless the drivers and everybody involved in that. But ultimately, Memorial Day is a much bigger thing than the race itself. So if it would be all right when we come back, I'd like to just talk a little bit about the sacrifice of the people who have made this nation what it is, say thanks to them.
Yep.
I also may have something else our audience might enjoy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
I'm David Peterson, President and Chief Operating Officer for ERMCO, electrical systems and automation contractor for major projects such as the new Marion County Justice Center and Gamebridge Fieldhouse. While we're known for these landmark projects, companies of all sizes depend on ERMCO for their preventative maintenance, emergency repairs, and energy management services. Regardless of the type or size of your project, you deserve quality and integrity. You deserve ERMCO, empowering people, inspiring innovation. ERMCO is proud to be a Quality Connection contractor. Quality work, customer connected.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Conditions should be perfect. 67 degrees here on Monument Circle. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Little to no rain is expected in the near future.
On Saturday, it will still be mild. And then for race day, there'll be a lot more clouds around, but it should still be dry.
That's Chad Swain with the National Weather Service, Indianapolis. If you're attending the 107th running of the Indy 500, there are some things you should know. John Herrick reports.
The first thing the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Doug Bowles, recommends you do is not procrastinate.
I encourage everybody to be here early.
Gates open at 6 a.m. Sunday. Be ready to go through metal detectors, and you'll have to use your credit card, debit card, or your phone if you want to buy anything because it's all cashless. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Race in the Thompson Furniture for the month of May. Save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic. Plus, for the entire month, with a Queen or King Tempur-Pedic set purchase, get a free Yeti cooler. Save up to 50% on Lazy Boy and save big on Indiana-made Hollywood outdoor furniture. Now through Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Heat and cool places where ductwork won't fit using Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits. You can even wrap them to match your decor.
Find out more at absolutecomfort.org.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Who appreciates the value of an Ivy Tech Community College Associate degree? Well, the state's largest colleges for starters. Over 20 have partnered with us in our Guaranteed Admissions Program, where an Ivy Tech Associate degree guarantees admission to their bachelor's degree program. Who else? The 70,000 plus high school students each year who earn college credit in high school and save on tuition by doing it. But as valuable as an Ivy Tech degree is, the real value lies in the better life it makes possible. Let's get started today at ivytech.edu.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Back home again in Indiana.
This is May.
And it seems that I can see.
It's our weekend.
The gleaming candle.
It's the best part of the race.
Still
I mean, seriously. And I don't in any way mean
I like the flyover.
to demean the incredible broadcast that'll take place. We had Mark Janes on yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What a phenomenal guy. The whole race broadcast is great. But as somebody who grew up in central Indiana, and it was always obviously blacked out, now sometimes it is capable of being seen depending on what various applications you have or whatever. But as you know, as a kid, there was no option. There was no internet. There was no nothing, whatever. Hearing Jim Nabors sing Back Home Again in Indiana was the best part.
Yeah. Does it give you goosebumps?
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's awesome. Like, you know, as a Hoosier lifer, it just reminds you of, despite all the flaws that our state has, what a wonderful place this is to call home, and reminds you of the people who are not with us anymore, and the sacrifices that they made, and how you stand on their shoulders. And sorry, I'm getting a little choked up here. It's an incredible moment in time when they sing, and you know, Jim Cornelius taking the place of Jim Nabors was a fitting tribute, and it's just a phenomenal part of the whole festivities.
Now you're talking about the race, but I can tell you said you're getting a little choked up. It's also Memorial Day.
Yes.
Day of reflection and remembrance of all of those who died while serving in the U.S. military. You're encouraged to pause at 3 p.m. for a moment of silence on Monday.
On Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Because that often gets lost in the shuffle. Now the 500 is a phenomenal job of. I'm not saying the 500 because they do a phenomenal job of making sure that we pay tribute to the veterans and all veterans, and obviously those who are no longer with us and those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in the field of battle and duty to the country. But it is easy amongst the race and the golfing and the cookouts and all the other fun boating and all the other things we're doing.
The mattress sales.
Right. Why this weekend is an extra day. We won't be here on Monday. But it is to honor people who paid the ultimate sacrifice. And, I think about like my great-great-grandfather, William B. Kendall, served in the Civil War, fought for the Union. Victorious. My grandfather, William Robert Kendall, served in World War II, defeated the Nazis, victorious. We have a long lineage of military success in my family, and then there's me. But they didn't die in the field of battle. They served. They were willing to. But ultimately, they got to come home. Yeah. And they got to have families, and we're here because of that. But when you think about the people who didn't get to come home, I encourage people to think about not only them and their sacrifice, but the sacrifice that other people made by not getting to exist. Because when those people lost their lives, there's a whole line of people who might have got to exist if those people had lived, who they also, in a sense, made some semblance of sacrifice because they're not with us.
Yeah.
And so it's America is the greatest idea ever conceived by man. And it has freed more people in its very brief existence than the rest of the world combined throughout human history. It has created more wealth than the rest of the world combined throughout human history. People who would be peasants and paupers in other nations with other systems of government have become some of the richest, most powerful, most influential people in the entire country. And they only have that opportunity because of the sacrifices that were laid down by those people.
It's a day to honor and remember. And I hope people, you have fun and you're out there grilling and you're having a beer and it's a day off of work, but you have to take time and remember because not everybody is celebrating on Monday. Many people aren't.
Yeah.
And it's a solemn day for those. And, when you join the military, your whole family joins.
Yeah. You know that.
Yeah. It's not just the one soldier or the one airman.
Yeah.
Or the one midshipman. It's the wife. It's the children. It's the parents. It's everybody that they take into the military with them.
Yeah. And so, and look, I get that people get kind of weird about this because Memorial Day is for those who sacrificed, may pay the ultimate sacrifice. But it is okay to still thank a veteran for their service. It is for those who lived. It's still okay to...
We know you know the difference.
Right. And it's still okay in some tribute to those people to thank those who lived. It's not, well, that is for the people who passed away. Well, it's okay to thank everyone. Come on. So to all the people who served, thank you. I know there is a day for that later on in the year. And for those who they are not at least hearing our voices in the sense of human existence, but maybe they are hearing us in another existence, thank you for your sacrifice. Thanks for doing the stuff that others couldn't or wouldn't do so that Casey and Kevin and I can come in and have this great job and this great existence. And we just can't thank you enough for that. All right, Casey, so I did something a few moments ago.
I know.
And this will be, it's like one night only. There will not be a repeat. As you know, my wife hates the social media. She does not do the social media in any shape, form, or fashion. That's why she's a very happy person, because she does not have the social media.
Yeah.
But she did give me permission.
Did she?
To post.
Yeah.
A photo, which you can now see. I've got it pinned to the top at Robin Kendall on Twitter. And again, this will probably be the only photo of her that will ever be on the social media, but she felt strongly enough about this. We did photos yesterday. Jason, our fabulous adorable. Jason Dozier, our fabulous fill-in producer, did them. He has a great side photography business that he runs of my wife and I with our soon-to-be-born baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to her about that, and she was absolutely adamant that I post one of those photos. So I posted what I thought was the best photo.
It's really cute. She looks beautiful. She's glowing in this picture.
She is way, way, way too good for me. And so if you would like to see that, my wife, my baby, me, you can crop me out if you want. At Rob M. Kendall on Twitter, pinned right up there to the top of the feed.
She did such a good job of picking out not only, her dress,
yes.
and I'm sure she picked out your shirt. You guys,
no, I did that all on my own.
You go. You're not matching, but you go. But I love the airiness and the freshness of the picture because there's just the pop of color in the background, and it's adorable.
My wife is a master at finding clothes that look expensive that are not expensive.
Mm-hmm.
She has a real gift of finding ways not to spend exorbitant amounts of money because she knows how I am with the money.
I said that you should say something nice and sweet in the softer, gentler side of Rob Kendall. Something about how proud you are. This is my beautiful wife. Our baby. No, instead you said this lady stopped me in the hall. She showed me her ultrasound. The baby looked just like me. Wild. So, well, you can see the one picture of Rob's wife that will ever go on social media. And is this the only picture of the baby we'll ever see?
So we've gone back and forth with that. My kid will not have a social media, but maybe when the baby's born, maybe I'll, pray on it. I prayed on this one too, and maybe I'll post a photo of the baby when the baby's born. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But yeah. I just wanted to do something nice for the audience. So many of you have wished great well wishes and have been so supportive of Olivia Thatcher. And so I thought that this is something I could do as we head off into a long weekend that at Rob M. Kendall on Twitter, you could go see it there.
Okay. It's a really nice picture. Thank you for sharing that. I know that our listeners will appreciate that as well. And it's proof that you're not making that wife up.
No,
she actually does exist.
And she was here yesterday. You got to talk to her. She loves you. She likes you way better than me.
She let me touch her stomach.
Oh, that's a big deal.
I was hoping the baby would move, but the baby was not moving.
Yeah, sometimes we have to point at her and go, Olivia.
I asked,
move.
By the way. I asked, can I? And she said, yeah.
Yeah, I think women tend to be more open for other women, especially women they like.
Well, yeah, she's not going to let some strange dude come touch her belly.
Yeah, I was worried about that for a while.
All right, so we have got up next as we head off into the weekend.
Yes.
Susan Beckwith is going to join us.
And her topic is so perfect. Because we just talked about, hey, you got to take some time during your cookout, during your biggest extravaganza to pause and remember the military and those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. But there's more etiquette to these big shindigs over the long weekend than just pausing and remembering the military. So coming up next, Mind Your Manners, Cook Out Etiquette with Susan Beckwith.
All right, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The new mown hay sends all its fragrance through the fields I used to roam. When I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, how I long for my Indiana home.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, still no debt limit, and why isn't Chuck Schumer on the hot seat? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Spring in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how a guarantee works.
Business owners, you too can get the 25-year protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you travel 465 on the south side of Indy, heads up, INDOT has announced upcoming directional closures for work activities associated with the I-69 Finish Line project. Beginning June 2nd, eastbound 465 will close between I-70 and I-65 for approximately 3 weeks. Beginning July 7th, westbound 465 will close from I-65 to I-70 for approximately 3 weeks. Detour routes will use I-65 and I-70 near downtown. You can get all the details at I-69finishline.com.
Lowe's knows Memorial Day savings, and now's the time to make your lawn and garden beautiful with outdoor essentials at Lowe's. Get gardening with Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch. Get 5 bags for $10. Plus, stock up on Bonnie 19.3 ounce vegetables and herbs, now just 3 for $12. Lowe's knows lawn care. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 5/31. Bonnie offer in-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Sunday is a race day, and this Sunday, before the greatest spectacle in racing, if you're looking for a new church home or even considering a first church home, please consider checking out my friends at Life Church. You know Life Church is where a friend of the show, Pastor Micah Beckwith, preaches, and I've talked about a whole bunch the incredible impact Life Church has had on my family's life, my life, and they would love the opportunity at Life Church to meet and welcome you and your family. Life Church has campuses in Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, in addition to awesome online services. Learn more at lifechurchin.com.
Hey, it's JMV and Save with the Sundown Gardens Memorial Day sale now through Memorial Day with 20% off all container trees and shrubs, 30% off Dissectum Japanese maple trees, and finish up your flowers and mulch too. Ask them about the loyalty program and save 20% off all container trees and shrubs and 30% off Dissectum Japanese maples at Sundown Gardens Memorial Day sale going on right now. That's Sundown Gardens, 186th and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com. That's SundownGardens.com.
The latest local news. Commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey,
5.6%.
Hammer and Nigel. Podcasts. Listen to the station live whenever, wherever. Online at WIBC.com.
It's time to mind your manners with Susan Beckwith. Oh, yes, you people are a bunch of lunatics, and we can't send you out into society over the weekend without some tips from the former Miss Indiana. Casey, this is what we do for our audience. We give you the keys to life.
Yes, well, we want to send everyone off into the weekend with some good manners.
Yes, absolutely. So Susan Beckwith joins us now on the DriveHubler.com hotline. Of course, she is a former Miss Indiana, and true or false, Susan, you were also once a 500 Festival princess.
I was. That was such an amazing experience.
What did you do as a 500 Festival princess?
Well, you know, part of that program, which is brilliant, is they actually pair each princess with somebody that's in the field that they want to go into. And so at the time I was in college and studying communications, and I thought I wanted to be in broadcasting. So I actually was able to land an internship with Wish Television, which was awesome. Probably the most beneficial aspect was I learned I didn't really want to be in broadcasting.
Smart choice.
Susan decided she wanted to not be poor the rest of her life.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was awesome.
So,
it was great.
So today, since people are going to be out and about over the weekend, you've got the 500 on Sunday, you've got Memorial Day on Monday, you're going to give us cookout etiquette.
Oh.
Yes, just some really easy reminders going into the weekend about being a a gracious guest, as we will probably be going to a cookout or two this weekend. There's also a lot of graduation open houses. We have a lot going on. So just a couple things to remember. You don't want to show up empty-handed. So if you don't have time to, maybe prepare a side dish, even just stopping by the store and picking up some drinks is a great thing to do. So don't go empty-handed.
I have a question about this. When you pick up something, I try to pick up something that I will enjoy myself. Am I supposed to put the group ahead of myself?
I always think it's nice to put others before ourselves. Going up with something is better than nothing, so we'll just take it at that.
So if I were to show up, say, I don't know, not that this has ever happened, Susan, but with a large bottle of Captain Morgan Long Island iced tea, that would maybe not be the best approach if it's not something I think everybody else would want to enjoy.
Yes, I think the group in mind would be most ideal, so that they also enjoy.
You talk about here, or you'd like to talk about how many people I should bring with me. It's okay to bring one person. It's not okay to bring my entire family unless the entire family has been specifically invited.
Yes, you don't want to kind of roll up with an entourage. Bring a guest, not an entourage. So just kind of be thinking about that because, when they're doing their planning ahead of time, they're probably not anticipating an entire group. So unless indicated, bring your whole family. We'd love to have them.
All right. Do we have to volunteer to bring the paper plates, the napkins, the cups, that sort of thing? Or are we supposed to expect that is already going to be there?
You know what? It's always nice to offer, so and if that is something that's easy for you and, versus if you have very limited time and making something may be difficult, that may be a help to them. So I think it'd be great to offer in advance.
Susan, back with our guests. It's Mind Your Manners. We're talking about cookout etiquette if you're going somewhere over the weekend. Some tips to make you a better guest. Now, you are very adamant, and I suffer at this. Now, see here, I try to go last on the line if there is a line of food because that way everybody gets theirs first, and I don't feel bad if I take excessive amounts of food because everybody's already had theirs. Yeah, Casey, that was funny. She almost about spit out her coffee there.
I did.
But you say be very, very mindful of the portion sizes.
Absolutely, especially if everybody hasn't gone through. So the fact that you kind of hang back to make sure that everyone has, then I think that's okay. It's just when we see people go through and take really large portion sizes and then there's not enough left for everyone else, that's, obviously we want to be very thoughtful.
Rude.
Yes, it is rude. And, you want them to be able to enjoy all of it as well.
And I'd like to point out the reason I do this is not so much kindness to others, but that way I can get more if I just wait because there will inevitably be some extra left over. So I don't want a gold star for going last. I just do that because it's more apt to end up better for me, Casey.
So, Susan,
we don't have to share that, and everybody will just think that you're so, thoughtful. And
Oh, no, they know better, Susan.
That's what they
better.
think of when they think of Rob Kendall. Thoughtful. So when it's time to leave the party, Susan, do we have to do the Midwest goodbye?
Absolutely. Say farewell to your host. Thank them for the effort that they put into planning. Certainly don't ask for a to-go box, but if they offer, that's okay. So, but let them take the lead on that. But yes, be sure to thank your guests because, even barbecues and cookouts that are very casual still takes effort and planning to pull them together.
But we don't have to say goodbye to every single person that's there at the party, do we?
No, I think just as long as you circle around to the host.
Yes, and you just touched on this is my favorite thing that you did this week. So Susan puts together this incredibly detailed template. She basically just gives us the things to ask her. So we have no work involved in this whatsoever, which is why she's perfect for this show. But I love this. You actually put at the bottom, and again, I would probably need to be told this. It says specifically, don't request a to-go plate.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh, goodness. But if they offer, you can absolutely, and sometimes they do. And so, yes.
Hey, tell us about your incredibly fabulous website, Belle of the Midwest.
Absolutely. So yesterday was a big milestone for me. I started a new decade. And so
you're 30 years old. Congratulations,
yes.
Susan.
We'll go with that. But, we had been thinking about the future of Belle of the Midwest and decided that we were going to continue. I wasn't sure if I was going to actually kind of close that chapter, but anyways, we're very excited to really kind of reintroduce it officially. So you'll start to see new content, blog posts, certainly things on social media. So you can find me at belleofthemidwest.com, and then on Facebook and Instagram is a great way to connect with me as well. So reach out if you have a group that you'd love for me to come and share, and we can talk all things etiquette and social graces, and I would certainly love to meet you all.
Belle of the Midwest. That's Belle with an E, Belle of the Midwest.com. Susan Beckwith, you behave yourself at those cookouts this weekend.
I will. You guys have a good one.
You too. And thanks for listening today. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And have a great weekend. We're going to expect you back here on Tuesday.
Yeah, no work Monday.
Have a great weekend and a nice Memorial Day. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's race time in Indiana, and that means it's time to gear up and get your home ready for the upcoming race. With Zero Res and your pit crew, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the festivities knowing that your home is clean and fresh. Race time in Indy with race parties are not so much about getting rid of clutter. We also have to deal with everything from allergens and irritants to dirt and grunge.